A weak, sliding cry echoed from within the castle. Under the quiet, late-night shroud, Ravis appeared, one by one with eyes rolled back, looking as though they had no life left, with bodies stained blood-red. Two strange figures appeared from afar, one majestic and imposing, while the other cowered with curses. "You damn bastard, Bobby." With a wounded body and trembling all over, he frowned and roared with bitter resentment. "Do you think you can escape the consequences of this massacre?" But the figure before him showed no fear, responding, "The Hilt family, do you think I don't know what you've been up to?" That person was none other than Ravis. "This isn't a massacre, it's an execution." Then he raised his claws with glaring eyes, declaring it was carried out by Bindika. Immediately after, a shrill scream echoed throughout the entire castle. The scene shifts to another development, where the previous arrogance had to kneel before another powerful figure, who was interrogating Ravis. "How dare you do such a thing, you fool, not knowing your own place? I told you to bring back evidence of their treason, not to execute them. A son of Bindika, daring to disrupt the order of this demon realm." With a stern face he affirmed, "This time you have gone too far." Those reproaches came from Gamud Bindika. Demon King Ravis, despite his body being tightly bound, could not help but shout back, "What do you mean, father? There is evidence everywhere this time. You know it too, father. Those Hilt people were beyond saving. It's all because those old fogies suck up to the Hilts. Even with evidence, we wouldn't have been able to punish them. So many of their crimes have already been ignored." Just then, a figure standing nearby darkened and glanced at him with an inscrutable, calculating look. As for Gamud Bindika, hearing that, his face darkened, explaining to his own son, "Execution must follow proper procedures. Your subjective judgment is not part of the procedure." However, those words did not reach Ravis's ears at all. Instead, he showed clear contempt. "Execution procedures? Ridiculous." He seemed to fall into a frenzy. With glowing eyes, he stubbornly blurted out, "Darkness devours the shadows. Is that not the law of survival in the demon realm?" Those words immediately made him frown, instinctively unable to say a word. Seeing that silence made Ravis push even further, raising his voice again, "Father, no, great demon king, you cannot even swallow the shadows, right here in front of you, so how can Bindika still be considered the emperor of this demon realm? You know full well, the order of the demon realm is being manipulated by the nobles." On the contrary, Gamud Bindika did not agree with his opinion at all, but instead lamented slowly, "I didn't expect you to be this short-sighted, truly ignorant." Ravis's reasoning did not stop there. As soon as he finished, he continued, "Bindika can only exist when the Hilt family is eliminated. They have committed all kinds of crimes to seize the throne. Was that not the reason you sent me to investigate, rather than those cowards hiding behind the Hilt house, turning a blind eye to the hierarchy?" Just as before, when those words poured out, he fell silent once again, contemplating for a long while. Gamud Bindika closed his eyes slightly before speaking in a sarcastic tone. "It's just water off a duck's back. Your punishment has been decided by the 12 black seats." That decisive statement made Ravis stiffen and repeat, "Punishment?" Immediately after, he could no longer remain calm, raising his voice with full fury, "Ravis, for the act of violating demon realm laws and massacring the Hilt family, you are banished to the human world." The sentence had just been passed. His eyes widened in shock, muttering, "The human world." Immediately, Ravis fell into a state of extreme panic and stammered loudly, "Father, you can't be serious. Are you being serious, father?" In the face of that shock, Gamud Bindika remained upright and firmly decreed, "Ravis, to pay for your crimes. Your power will be sealed in the human world. Go there and learn the dignity of a Bindika." As soon as he finished, panic-stricken screams rang out shrilly, "No, father, even if I did kill those Hilt people, I didn't destroy their souls." But despite his denial, he still insisted, "What are you waiting for? Execute it." But the screams did not stop, even as countless magic circles were formed around him. "Damn it, I won't accept this. Stop right now. I can't go. I did nothing wrong." Weaving through the crowd, a figure let a faint smile play on his lips, watching Ravis screaming in agony before him, made Bobby, even more excited, leaning forward, to whisper a mockery, "Have a nice trip, oh disgraced prince." His smile became increasingly cunning. "I will protect this place well," forcing a curse to escape through Ravis's teeth. "Clench tight, you bastard." As the words left his mouth, Ravis screamed in excruciating pain, as if tearing through space itself. Ravis was sentenced to banishment to the human world. Laws of the human world. 1. Live a faithful life within a confined body. 2. Do not die before the appointed time. 3. Do not kill humans. Violate these, and your soul shall be destroyed. Scene shifts to another setting, where a young man suddenly bolts upright, with a face of indescribable shock.
Yung Miho's mouth
remained wide open as he let out heavy, ragged breaths. With difficulty, his hands instinctively rose before his face. In utter bewilderment, his fingertips twitched in a slight tremor. Then he suddenly let out a dry cough. Immediately after, Young Miho put his hands to his head, exclaiming, "Damn it, I've really come to the human world." He remembered that smug face of his, before scowling and shouting, "That dog, Banby, he dared to mess with me? When I return, I'm gonna break his horns first. Why does this human body ache all over?" And then, Young Miho slowly lifted his body out of bed, and stood up straight, while his eyes continued to observe his current body. He couldn't help but criticize in his tone, "I'm stuck in this weakest of physical forms." He suddenly turned his head and cursed inwardly. "Damn useless hilts, even breathing feels difficult. Is there no sulfur around here?" The door suddenly creaked open and a girl's head peeked in. "What's that noise?" But before she could voice her question, seeing Young Miho before her made her cry out, "Brother!" Her eyes instantly flooded with tears as Young Minha ran over. "Are you awake?" Without hesitation, she lunged straight into his arms, sobbing, "Thank goodness, I thought you would never wake up again." However, the sudden contact made him stiffen, thinking, "Who is this? The family of this body?" While he hadn't even finished the thought, another figure appeared before Miho's eyes. She suddenly grabbed her face with both hands, and burst into loud sobs. "Thank heaven you've woken up. You must have been in so much pain." But seeing this situation made Young Miho frown, racking his brain, thinking, "What is this situation? What should I do now? They say the human world is one of the 3 great hells. Can I really survive here?" Before the thought could fade, another pair of feet slowly approached. Young Tae-sik, with an imposing build, asked, "You're awake?" But that appearance made Young Miho's mother anxiously tell him, "Miho has only just woken up." On the contrary, his gaze toward him remained stern, making him freeze up. Without waiting long, he callously turned away while speaking. "Hurry up and get ready to go to school tomorrow. You've been lying around for a whole week. You'll have to try hard to catch up with your friends." His departure left her bewildered, having to follow him to say more. "Dear." Miho is still silent. It's good enough that he's awake. But seeing Young Miho's unchanging expression, Young Minha suddenly turned to ask him, "How are you feeling?" However, in his head, he remembered the expression of that man just now. "What is this?" His face suddenly lit up with excitement. "I really like that human. There are humans here who are just like demons." But that look made her exclaim in confusion, "Brother?" Then Young Miho's eyes suddenly flashed. His face darkened with calculation as he thought, "I instinctively like him. I must be careful before the memories of this body return." Scene shifts to another setting under a clear blue sky. Below is a school building with the sound of lively whispering. Miho is at school. Is this a school? He was brought to school, but his mother still couldn't help but worry, advising him, "If you feel unwell in class, call me, okay?" Watching his back gradually fade away, her eyes showed clear anxiety. On the other hand, Young Miho walked while thinking about something else. "The last time I went to school in the demon realm was 600 years ago. I didn't expect to still have to go to school at this age. Humans truly study hell." But then he suddenly froze when he realized, the human world is a hell, isn't it? Scene shifts to another setting in a classroom. Young Miho moved toward his class, but those thoughts kept echoing. "That's right. It's hard enough for humans to live past 100. Just live peacefully so my soul doesn't get destroyed. I've bought time by wiping out the Hilt House. I just need to return to inherit my father's throne before the Bindika royal family falls into danger again." But while he was still immersed in his thoughts, 2 classmates suddenly approached him. It's Miho. It's been a long time since we last saw you. He heard that tone, and turned around with a face showing no interest at all. What is this? Tu suddenly leaned down, while placing his arm on his shoulder and added, Miho, did you bring the penalty fee for being absent? But that physical reaction just now left him frozen in utter confusion. My body is automatically cowering. Suddenly, a stream of old memories flooded back into his mind. Young Miho. A strange face appeared, then came that guy's face laughing and mocking, while below was this very body shrinking back, shaking uncontrollably in terror. At this moment, young Miho regained his senses and widened his eyes. He glanced behind him. His mind couldn't stop racing with thoughts. Was the reason this body was injured because of these dogs? While he was thinking about it, Tu suddenly slapped the back of his head while mocking. This guy, we're friends. What are you so scared of? Are you even more submissive than before? It's been a while since we met. Give us a proper greeting. Hurry up and pay the friendship membership fee, right now. Young Miho hadn't even had time to react, as his brain was just processing the thought. Don't tell me I'm being extorted. Just then, another image of Cynthia, teaching, came back to him. Look up here, these are humans. Observe them closely. Those words immediately made the students below get all rowdy. No horns? They look so vulgar, they probably smell bad. She didn't try to advise them against it, but instead agreed and exclaimed, that's right, humans are very vulgar creatures. They will do anything to hide their own weaknesses. Furthermore, they are a foolish species that worships both demons and angels. Ravis also spoke up mockingly back then. We should just burn all those idiots. Suddenly, at that moment, Cynthia created a glowing magic circle, with a resounding affirmation. That's right, Ravis. If you encounter humans, crush their vulgarity. Back to reality. Remembering those moments made Junge mio fully. Mediocre humanity dares to touch me? While Cock Thursday was still calmly scrolling on his phone nearby, an arm impulsively lunged forward and grabbed his hair. Instantly, he slammed his head hard onto the nearby table. Humans truly are moronic and stupid. Sung Hyun, realizing his accomplice was screaming, let go of me right now, stiffened in shock. Seeing this, he did not hesitate to rush over and shout, damn it, has this guy lost his mind? But upon seeing that, Young Miho's eyes suddenly flared with red light, leaving him in total bewilderment. My mana is reacting. Meanwhile, he still charged forward with a mouth full of curses. Did this dog's brain rot because he cheated death? You want to die, don't you? As soon as he finished speaking, Sung Hyun swung his arm, preparing to throw a punch. He easily dodged it, but his eyes couldn't hide his surprise as he thought, look, does human swearing stimulate mana? There is a link between curses and mana. As soon as the thought finished, Youngmyo did not hesitate to punch him square in the face, immediately sending Sung Hyun flying back and slamming his body hard against the wall. This scene simultaneously caused all the classmates in the room to gape in astonishment. On the other hand, Youngmiho didn't care at all. He looked at his hand and pondered again. Mana was supposed to be sealed in the human world. Even though the body is human, my mana still reacts to the evil right now. Lim Sane behind him spoke up in a low, stuttering voice. Mimio, is this the Miho I know? Tu, having just been hit, did not back down and raised a chair. Intending to retaliate, dare to hit your father? I'll crush your skull. This made him widen his eyes, crying out desperately, Miho, look out behind you. He noticed just in time and glanced back. In an instant, he swung his leg and kicked, straight into his stomach without any mercy. That too was kicked so hard his whole body curled up. Still unable to believe it, he cursed. How the hell? He looked at Young Miho before him and let out a stream of insults. You wimp. But before Thursday could finish, he cut him off. I heard that when humans want to hide their weaknesses, they become even more vulgar. Do you think shouting curses will make you stronger? As soon as he finished speaking, his leg moved back once more, and instantly came up to kick him straight in the chin, snapping his head straight back. Another image flashed through Young Miho's mind as he pondered. The roots of the curses humans use originated from my mother. As for right now, Thursday had been knocked down by him and lay flat on his back on the ground. This caused the entire classroom to fall into a panic. Whispers quickly filled the air. Miho took down Thursday and Sunghyun? What on earth is happening? This is insane. On the contrary, Young Miho stood silently amidst the noise. Father said I just need to live peacefully, like this and then go back, right? Suddenly he turned toward the rest of the classmates standing on the other side and spoke up, you kids. Does anyone else want to curse at me? Let's find out. The boys in the class saw that savage expression on Young Miho's face and were bewildered. Is that really Miho? Good heavens, even Lim Seon froze up as he marveled to himself. Is Miho really that strong? While the others were gossiping about him, he slowly walked over. His face, however, showed clear concern as he asked, Miho, are you okay? But he didn't answer immediately, his lips curling into a slight smile. Looking at Lim Seon's naive face and thinking to himself, he's the person who wanted to help me earlier. He's fit to be my follower. With that sinister thought, Young Mio slowly replied, I'm fine. The scene shifts to the afternoon, as a voice of praise continued to resound. For real though, how did you take down both of them? That was so cool. Miho, did you just reincarnate into another world or something, right? But that joke made him freeze. What? Am I exposed? Meanwhile, Lim Seon continued to joke and asked him, is it a martial arts world, or a game? On the contrary, Young Miho didn't answer but thought seriously. If my follower has already realized my true identity, then a memory suddenly surfaced, of two figures walking and talking. Ravis, while in the human world, you must not kill humans. If you do, your soul will truly vanish. But why? Lady Cynthia said we should crush those vulgar humans. Banby glanced at him and slowly explained again. She only said that to set the mood. We must not take human death lightly. We are the gods who manage human death. But Ravis only glanced at him and raised a question. But aren't humans already constantly killing each other? Hearing that, Banby turned his face away, his voice showing clear acknowledgement. That's why they are ignorant, and that's why we exist. He still didn't take his eyes off him, instinctively letting out a long, bored sigh. The two of them stood from a high vantage point, looking out at the distant scenery. As their conversation continued, remember, killing a person leads to soul destruction. Why should I remember that? I'm a demon god. There's no way I'd ever go to the human world.
Returning to Young Miho's reality.
He looked up at the sky and thought quietly, if I can't kill people, how am I supposed to silence them? While he was still having a headache, Lim Seon, beside him, suddenly lowered his head and muttered, if reincarnation were real, that would be great. I wish I could wake up in another world. Noticing his voice growing smaller, made him immediately realize, I can smell extreme suffering coming from this kid.
Lim Seon
Walked with his head down while continuing to speak. I know the whole reincarnation thing is silly. I know better than anyone just how much you've had to endure for you to finally reach your breaking point like that. But contrary to that melancholic look, Young Miho felt satisfied, thinking, good, so he doesn't know yet. Suddenly his expression brightened slightly as he slowly praised, you were really cool earlier, Mio. But that praise felt like a knife to the hand as he thought with contempt, I've been praised by a mediocre human. Scene shifts to another setting. At a high-rise apartment building, Young Miho sat on his bed, but thoughts kept racing through his head. When cursed at by a human, my mana definitely activated. A demon imprisoned in a human body shouldn't be able to use magic at all. He looked at his hand, unable to hide his confusion. What is the meaning of this? Young Miho's gaze froze for a long moment. Then a smile curled on his lips, as he marveled to himself. Just as I thought. His face immediately flushed red, as he fell into a state of narcissism. I Ravis have no limits. But before his confidence could last, he suddenly grimaced. Why does it suddenly hurt so much? Young Miho clutched his left arm as his body instinctively trembled, as light filtered into the room. On the bed, he was still curled up, looking exhausted. This weakest of bodies can't handle my power. Now my whole body aches. His face was now contorted with discomfort, as he pondered, living like a human for just one day and I'm already this miserable.
Suddenly Young Miho's eyes
widened in agony. Before he thought irritably, how can I sleep if it keeps hurting like this? That's what he said. But looking back, he had somehow already fallen into a deep sleep. Zzzzz. Time passed continuously, from night to morning and then to afternoon again. The location remained the school, a familiar sight. Young Miho and Lim Seon walked side by side after school, and he once again praised him incessantly. It's been so long. since we had a peaceful day at school. Thank you, Miho. Thanks to you, no one messes with us anymore. In contrast to that gentleness, he used a grumpy face and raised his voice. Whatever, I just want to crush all of them. I want to try using my power. While they were still walking, a voice calling his name rang out. Youngmyo. The two of them heard it and instinctively turned around slowly. Standing before them was Thursday, next to a tall young man who was acting arrogant and shouting. You're the one who beat up my subordinate, right? I've been protecting you for how long now? And this is how you repay me? Those words caused Lim Seon beside him to break out in an anxious sweat. Beyond imagination,
Youngmyo suddenly became elated,
making him widen his eyes in shock. Another insult, that's right. Seeing this, he started to turn around while saying, follow me. In a secluded corner of the school, a voice rang out again. I told you already. He patted his head mockingly. Don't let yourself get beaten up by this weakling, okay? Hearing that, he stammered, I'm sorry. As soon as he finished the sentence, he turned to look at him and asked loudly, Youngmi-ho, what should I do with you? His face suddenly moved close to him, while growling a question. If I let you go, how? Could I intimidate the kids at school? Then he pointed his finger at his forehead and added, did your mother teach you to hit other people's good children, huh? However, Young-min Ho still showed complete calmness as he slowly replied, exactly right. That blunt response made Thursday's brother exclaim in surprise, this brat. Suddenly he raised his hand high, preparing to deal a blow to him. You're laughing? That arm lunged forward fast, so close that it was only a bit away from touching Youngmi-ho, but before it could even make contact, he reached out and caught it firmly, while thinking with amusement, curses that bring up someone's mother are still the best. After that, he didn't let go but squeezed his wrist tightly. The intense pressure made him scream out in terror. What the hell is this? Youngmi-ho still didn't answer. He just swung his arm and thought again. Oh, my noble mother, who bestowed toxicity upon the tongues of humans. He immediately threw another blow to his face, sending him falling backward. Immediately after, countless punches were unleashed, aimed directly at him one after another. Violence only affects the physical body, but rotten words can gnaw away, even at the soul. These petty creatures desperately call out your name. Thursday, standing behind, began to get agitated and shouted, Big brother, you dog.
Evenly Messaeuin.
Nearby was given a massive shock by Young-mi-ho. As for him, beaten black and blue, he could only turn and call out to his subordinates. What are you guys standing there for? Pounce on him now. He immediately recognized the intention and slowly assessed. Planning to gang up on me now? His eyes suddenly snapped wide, with pupils glowing brightly. The more the better. Instantly, Youngmyo lunged forward and took down each person in the blink of an eye. The more evil there is, the stronger I become. As for Lim Seon, seeing it nearby, he was scared enough to cry out. That cry almost rang out shrilly through the deserted school. Only then did his arm slowly lower. Youngmi-ho looked up and breathed slowly and steadily, while behind him, every single one of them had been beaten to a pulp. He spread his arms and exclaimed, how refreshing! A stream of memories once again surfaced in his mind. Uncle bestowed violence upon everyone, while mother created toxic words. Violence is very good. Violence is truly the pinnacle. Now I understand why. Uncle gave humans this thing. Thank you, Uncle. Meanwhile, Lim Seon nearby walked over slowly and softly called, Miho. However, from afar, a glowing red light was aimed toward Young-mi-ho. Inside a small hole was a rat. Its red eyes glowed in a strange way, and in fact, those eyes had recorded the entire scene just now. As you have seen, the mission you gave has been carried out. Those images were being projected onto another screen. With a voice resounding, my dear nephew, Ravis, a foot crushed the head of a blue demon underfoot. In front of him was Baka, wearing a delighted smile. It seems you like your uncle's gift very much. Banbi nearby looked at him through the screen and added, a demon bloodstone engraved in the eye instead of a mana stone. How much longer do you intend to endure this? Ravis, that expression became significantly more sinister while looking at Young-mi-ho through the projector. A gloomy and eerie laugh echoed from inside a somber castle. Inside the castle, two mysterious figures, were focused on watching the images of Young Miho, that bastard Ravis. He really wiped out the entire Hilt clan. Banbi turned his head, glanced at the man behind him, and spoke calmly. Ravis always has to get what he wants. Baka sat leisurely in his chair, smirked, and said, in the end, who could possibly restrain that stubborn brat? Even so, tossing him straight to the human world, without a moment's hesitation. Gamud truly shows no mercy at all. The image of Gamud Bindika appeared. Banbi walked toward a cracked stone basin and spoke gloomily. When dealing with a high-level tyrant, only suppression by force is effective. That is the creed of the great demon king Gamud. Baka maintained his indifferent manner, flicking his fingernails as he spoke. The human world is the place where the demon realm exiles its most wicked criminals. Ravis won't adapt easily, he hummed, happily thinking of the scene where he would torment his nephew until he cried, that brat, since when did he grow up enough to start causing trouble like this? Uncle, save me. Wait, what did I just say? Banbi suddenly turned around and looked straight at his master, who was sitting cross-legged on the chair. Could it be that's why you bestowed the blood stone upon him? He suddenly spread his arms wide, his cloak fluttering in the wind. Lord Baka, the preparations to summon the sinner exiled to the human world are complete. Hearing that, Baka grinned, revealing a set of pure white teeth. Show it to me. Hearing this, Banbi coldly raised his hand. A stream of dark energy slowly flowed out from his hand. A large sphere of dark energy slowly appeared before Banbi. Streams of dark energy from all directions also rushed in like a torrential flood. Images of horrific demons also appeared following his words. Once Ravis has descended to the human world, sooner or later he will cross paths with them. Baka leaned on his hand and slowly stood up from the chair. He reached out his hand. A small wisp of dark energy began to be attracted and flew closer. Then the massive streams of dark energy that were in the stone basin earlier were now being rapidly absorbed by Baka. The pitch-black, dense dark energy converged into a round sphere in his hand. The image of Young Min Ho appeared in Baka's mind, causing him to smirk with delight while absorbing the dark energy. How interesting, my nephew. Ravis, you will experience what true darkness is. A pot of food full of spicy rice cakes and fish cakes appeared. What the heck just happened? Miho, even Thursday was taken down so easily. Looked at the person opposite him with eyes shining in admiration. That was amazing. I thought I was watching a movie. Young Mio, at this moment, was so conquered by the delicious food he almost cried, but still spoke toughly. So this is fire hell? It's nothing special. Lim Seon looked at him, slightly speechless. But Miho, are you crying? Young Miho still answered stubbornly, you idiot. This is just sweat leaking from my eyes. Lim Seon gently chided him. I told you we should have ordered the beginner spice level. Hearing that, he thought to himself while chewing, a demon who avoids hell doesn't deserve to be called a demon. The phone on the table suddenly vibrated violently.
Successfully catching Lim SAE1S attention.
On the phone screen, an incoming call appeared. Mobile phone Jin Jae-hai. Seeing it, his face turned pale with fear. Young Miho, with his mouth full of food, spoke up and asked, what is it? Why aren't you answering? Lim Seon lowered his head slightly and spoke urgently. Miho, I just got an emergency call. He smiled awkwardly, picked up his bag, stood up, and turned to look at him, who was still sitting there eating, and said, I'll go first, enjoy your meal. Lim Seon left under a gaze full of displeasure and utter dissatisfaction from Young Mio. His hand was caught by something unknown. He was so terrified that he couldn't stop trembling. He continued eating while glancing at Lim Seon leaving. Dusk had already begun to fall. In a small, deserted alleyway, an old warehouse appeared. The outside door was tightly closed, as if it hadn't been used for a long time. A tattoo needle was slowly descending. Jin Jae-hai was currently trying to tattoo the person lying on the bed, causing that person to scream out in pain. Hearing that, she spoke up, don't move or it will hurt. Horrific photographs, featuring the pain-filled faces of men, were spread all over the wall. See? Who told you not to pay your debt on time? You're making me do extra work because of you. Jin Jae-hai now looked down at the face of the man below, which looked as if all his strength had been drained away, as if looking at her own satisfying masterpiece. She spoke cheerfully, all right, it's finished. The other person's eyes rolled back as if the pupils were disappearing. His entire face was filled with indescribable agony. It turned out quite well. Your skin is great. A call from behind reached her, causing her to glance back. Ms. J, we've brought him here. Lim Xian was led in, held by the shoulder by a tall man. He looked at Jean Jai and called out tremblingly, Jai.
Signe Lim SAE1.
She gracefully turned around and said with a smile, What's this? Why are you so late, Xian? Come here and take a good look. The surgical light shone brightly down. Lim Xian's face was squeezed tightly, as he searched for strength to resist with clenched teeth. Open your eyes wide and look closely. He looked straight at the terrified face of the man below. What do you think this means? The words on the man's forehead appeared very clearly. Shoplifter. It means petty thief bastard. Jean Jai looked at Lim Xian's fear-stricken face and whispered gently into his ear, this guy is being punished for not paying his debt. Her voice suddenly became spine-chilling. Her face also carried a hint of madness.
Zausing Lim sai unto tremble incessantly.
What about you, Lim Xian? How is our promise progressing? He trembled and stammered in response. That Lim Xian's eyes widened in sheer terror. Errors keep occurring lately. A sharp slapping sound rang out. He was slapped by Jean Jai, so hard his face flushed red. He clutched his cheek and collapsed to the ground. You think this is a joke? She lifted the tattoo needle in her hand high to examine it. At the same time, two brawny men walked over and dragged Lim Xian up, causing him to scream out in horror. Why won't you ever understand?
Lim Xian struggled in pain,
trying to escape the arms of those two men. Jean Jai put on a face of crazed desire, as she walked over and lifted Lim Xian's arm. Maybe I should carve it directly onto the back of your hand, so you'll remember. Hearing that, he burst into tears, resisting even more violently, desperately pleading. No. Jean Jai opened her mouth slightly and said,
Hey, Lim SAE1, listen carefully.
She slowly pulled out the needle. This is the last chance I'm giving you. Then she knelt on one knee to look straight at Lim Xian. Do exactly everything I told you. Jean Jai gripped his hair tightly, slowly moving closer, then threatened in a low voice to ensure everything was ready. Can I really get this done? The sky was covered in a silent black color, with twinkling stars, decorating the scene for Lim Xian, who was now sitting alone quietly in front of the computer. Both his hands were clenched so tightly they were shaking uncontrollably. But if I don't do this, Lim Xian used one hand to slowly grip the other hand that wouldn't stop. Trembling, he bit his lip and thought, then Jean Jai will. Lim Xian just sat there in silence. Before the glowing computer screen, scene shifts to the outside of a high-rise apartment building. Young Mio was currently gnashing his teeth and writhing on the bed. My stomach, is this how people who can't eat spicy food feel? Sweat poured off his face like he was in a bath. His teeth were clenched so hard they felt like they might break. My stomach is burning, and my whole body feels like it's breaking apart. I only fought a little, yet my shoulder feels dislocated. Young Mio reached out, ripped off his shirt, and threw it away. This pathetic, weak body. He did push-ups frantically, hoping to dull the pain, telling himself in his heart, Lavis Bindika absolutely cannot collapse over something like this. Then Young Miho gritted his teeth and did sit-ups like a madman. I will reform this trash body at any cost. His eyes rolled back, and he let out a determined roar. No pain will ever make me submit. The early morning sunlight shone through the clouds, creating a truly spectacular scene. Outside a high school campus, inside the hallway, Lim Xian stood quietly, looking down at the object in his hands. It was an extremely outdated mobile phone.
Lim SAE1
looked at it anxiously and tightened his grip on it. This application. His eyes were full of apprehension. It's too dangerous. The image of Jean Jai's gloomy face surfaced again. Ensure everything is ready. Lim Xian lowered his head, clutching the device in his hands. He closed his eyes and gritted his teeth in distress. What should I do? A hand was suddenly placed on Lim Xian's shoulder, frightening him so much he let out a yell.
Ei, SAE1.
Young Mio cast a cold gaze down at the person below. What's wrong with you? Why are you so startled? Lim Xian glanced at him. A thought suddenly flashed through his mind. Should I ask Miho for help? Young Miho's gaze remained cold as he looked at him. Lim Asan gritted his teeth and rejected the thought. No, he suddenly thought of Jean Jae-hai and the people associated with her. Even Mio will be in danger if he gets involved with Jean Jae-hai. Lim Asan kept his head down and teeth clenched, not noticing Young Mi-ho standing beside him, looking at him with utter confusion. I can't let Mi-ho get dragged into this. Long hair suddenly brushed past, causing Young Mi-ho to be momentarily startled. Wait, this scent. A girl slipped, and was falling headfirst in front of the two of them. Where have I smelled this before? Lim Sun saw this and screamed. So he rushed over to the girl's side. What happened? Are you okay? Wake up. Lim Asian hurriedly turned the girl over. Are you hurt somewhere? Sohee's face was now pale. Her whole body seemed to lose consciousness as she laughed maniacally. Seeing this, Lim Asian was immediately frightened and backed away. One of Young Mi-ho's eyes suddenly turned red. Mana? Why is it inside a human body? A man came running breathlessly from a distance. Sohee, what is going on? The teacher hurriedly carried Sohee on his back and said anxiously, Wake up, let me take you to the infirmary. That hair brushed past once more, startling Young Mi-ho. On Sohee's incessantly trembling arm, a pitch-black mark appeared. That mark. He was startled, eyes widening in horror. The symbol of the Hilt family? How can it appear on a human body?
Young Mi-ho's red pupil
moved dynamically, following the figure that had gone far away. I need to confirm this. Night fell once again. At the city's large hospital, a pair of long legs stepped through the quiet hallway, causing the person sitting on the bench to be startled and look up, seeing the person about to reach out and open the ward door. A female security guard nearby hurriedly spoke up to stop him. Wait a moment. She looked at the young man with his hood pulled tight and asked politely, Are you Sohee's friend? She needs to rest, so you cannot go in to visit her. Hearing that, the young man immediately turned his face to look at her, leaving her stunned. Young Mi-ho activated his mana. One of his eyes turned red. His voice carried an irresistible charm. Sink into oblivion. The security guard was immediately hit by the stream of mana, invading her mind, and she became motionless. Her eyes rolled back. Her pupils turned slightly red from the mana manipulating her mind. The security guard slowly sat back down in her original spot. She stared blankly ahead without paying any attention to Young Mi-ho, who was opening the door on his own. He pushed the door open slightly and glanced at the security guard. Although the amount of mana is faint, at this level it is still usable, but it is only temporary. Young Mi-ho stepped into the room and closed the door with a click. Sohee, sitting on the bed, was startled and glanced at him. She spoke up unhappily.
As Young Mi-ho calmly stepped closer.
What? Who are you? He didn't answer her but simply asked back coldly. Who exactly are you? Sohee glanced at Young Mi-ho with extreme annoyance. What? Why did you suddenly barge in like this? His hand suddenly, firmly grabbed her arm. Sohee screamed out in pain. Damn it, that hurts. Young Mi-ho said nothing, only casting a gloomy gaze down at Sohee. He gripped her wrist tightly and raised it high, making the mark on her arm visible. Why does a mere human bear the symbol of the Hilt family? Sohee frowned in discomfort. What the hell are you talking about? Young Mi-ho lost his patience, glaring at her warningly. If you don't want to suffer even worse consequences, then tell the truth. His red pupils glowed in the darkness. What is your true identity? He was terrified out of her wits by this sight. Her eyes widened, and cold sweat began to pour down her face. That is. Sohee looked tremblingly at the demonic shadow behind. Young Mi-ho, a demon. His whole being. She shook, as she looked at the man before her and stammered. Young Mi-ho lost his patience, widening his eyes and threatening. Speak now. Sohee was now a mess of tears and snot as she looked at him and answered. I really don't know anything.
Jae.
Jean Jae-hai's scheming face appeared once again. She told me I had to get this tattoo if I wanted to join their gang, and also said she would give me weight loss pills.
Young Mi-ho slightly
glanced at the girl who was trembling incessantly before him, and thought to himself, there is a very faint scent coming from her. His red pupils at this moment became incredibly cold and icy. It's definitely a scent I've smelled in the demon realm. The torch on the wall had been blown out at some unknown time. Ravis. Two figures were quietly walking through an endless, long corridor. One of them suddenly spoke up. Where are you going? Banbi anxiously glanced at the surrounding area. That area is forbidden. Ravis unhappily turned his head to look at Banbi, causing him to jump in fright and quickly shut his mouth. He looked at him and gave a smile full of contempt. Banbi, you coward. Hearing that, Banbi was so angry his body shook. But unable to snap back, he had to try to swallow his anger. He suddenly shouted, I'm not afraid, I just don't want to be punished. Hearing that, Ravis simply said calmly, then leave. Banbi looked at the arrogant youth before him and spoke with difficulty. I don't want to. With your personality, if I leave you alone, you'll definitely cause trouble. He anxiously stole a glance around. How much further is it? The two finally reached a pitch-black entrance. Banbi glanced around, then suddenly asked Ravis, do you know? Hearing that, Ravis replied carelessly, I don't know anything. You have to tell me first. Banbi put on an extremely mysterious act. Glancing around, being in the darkness reminds me of a story about those who possess eyes that exceed limits. The Ravis species. Bindika, who was walking ahead, stopped and glanced back slightly to listen. From what I know, there are two ways they lose their sight. Banbi followed behind him, muttering to himself. One is light so bright it makes them blind. Two is seeing nothing at all, and their eyes gradually degenerate in a dark place like this. A sound came from the one in front, leaving him stunned. Silence. Ravis gestured for silence, while leaning to one side and peeking inside. There is something here. Both of them tilted their heads, looking at a flower placed on a hand. In the distance, Banbi stole a glance and asked tremblingly in a low voice, what is that? Ravis courageously stepped forward to take a closer look. Meanwhile, Banbi was still terrified and frantically warned, it's very dangerous. Purple flower appeared. Both of them looked at the flowers below. Banbi spoke tremblingly again. Isn't this guy Jeremy Higa? Ravis looked at the condition of the person on the ground and remarked bluntly, look at his condition. He's dead. Jeremy Higa's whole body was pale blue. Flowers were now crowding each other, growing out of his body. A curious hand touched a flower. But what is this flower? Hey, don't touch it. That hand forcefully plucked the flower out of Jeremy Higa's body. Ravis held the flower up in front of him, then covered his nose in disgust. This scent. Banbi suddenly spoke in a panic. This is. He looked at the flower in his hand and exclaimed, flesh-eating flower. Back to reality.
Yung Miho's gaze
Was still cold as he looked down at the person below. The scent is identical to the flesh-eating flower. So he was like a crazy person now, only able to clasp her hands and cry, pleading, please, forgive me. He watched her in silence as she trembled in fear on the bed. Outside the room's window, a bat was hanging upside down. From a tree, its red eyes staring directly at Yung Mio. It gazed intently at him. Ravis, we finally meet. Its gaze suddenly became extremely chilling. I have been looking forward to this moment. The old abandoned factory building appeared again. Yung Miho walked inside quietly and alone. He stood before a door and looked in silently. So this is Jin Jae-hai's tattoo parlor. Yung Miho stared at the door in front of him. The hilt symbol and the flesh-eating flower. Could it really just be a coincidence? The image of a sign pointing toward the emergency exit appeared. A group of people were walking arrogantly down the hallway of a dilapidated apartment complex.
Lim SAE1.
Why is Yangmu so obsessed with that high school kid? He doesn't even need the boy. What he wants is the app the kid created. The blonde leader spoke out haughtily. Are we going high-tech now? He slightly tightened his grip on the blue pill in his hand. Blue ribbon? Yangmu only developed that recently. A guy nearby heard this and irritably snapped back. Use less of it, you psycho. Didn't you hear about Joe Siamhai yesterday? It's brand new, so the side effects are intense. The two of them chatted happily as they walked. Who cares, as long as it gets me high. On the blonde guy's neck, a familiar mark appeared. Yung Miho cast a cold glance at the group. That scent again and the hilt symbol. The two men continued swaggering down the hallway. Yung Miho suddenly appeared, blocking their path. Did all of you get these tattoos at Jin Jae-hai's place too? The blonde guy saw him and approached arrogantly. Who the hell is this? He walked up to Yung Miho and began to mock him. Hey, a friend of Jae-hai's? The blonde guy reached out to touch his face. Know your place.
Yung Miho's red pupils suddenly dilated.
He reached out and swatted the other man's hand away. and unexpectedly delivered a powerful slap, leaving the accomplices behind him stunned, unable to react in time. The man was hit so hard he fell, rolling onto the ground before him, under the horrified gaze of the gang. One of the companions immediately shouted in anger, "You brat, who sent you?" Young Mi-ho said nothing and simply clenched his fist, lunging quickly toward the other man. He punched the man so hard he couldn't defend himself and spat blood, falling backward as another one prepared to rush in. "You lunatic!" He charged at Young Mi-ho. "Do you want to die?" He angrily threw a punch, but Mi-ho easily dodged.
Young Mi-ho directly delivered a
punch to the middle of the man's face. The man screamed in pain and collapsed. Seeing this, the remaining one grabbed a knife to charge. He held the knife and lunged straight at him. "Take this!"
Young Mi-ho nimbly spun around
and gave the last man a powerful spinning kick to the neck, causing him to drop the knife in his hand. After the fight, he just coldly looked at the group lying scattered on the ground. Young Mi-ho coldly asked, "Where is Jin Jae-hi?" The blonde man had managed to stand up and said angrily, "Damn it, kill him now." His face became incredibly crazed and distorted. "I'm going to kill you." Young Mi-ho was slightly surprised to see this, staring wide-eyed at the man. What, did his demonic energy just erupt? He pounced straight at him like a mad dog. Young Mi-ho fought back while thinking to himself, his movements have changed. Has the drug enhanced his physical body? His red pupils widened as he cursed inwardly. Damn it! The night sky remained as quiet and still as usual. Jin Jae-hi was currently standing before someone on a sofa, and spoke up. "The app still isn't finished?" "I'm sorry." The man beside her also spoke up at that moment. "This time I'm certain it won't take much longer." Yangmu lay on the chair, placed his hand on his forehead and spoke in disgust. "I think I heard that last time too."
Furthermore, Yin Ye, I kasta slikt glansa.
At the man kneeling and trembling beside her. "We caught the one who was embezzling the blue ribbon supply." That person at this moment desperately screamed for mercy. "I was wrong. Please forgive me." He looked at Yangmu and pleaded urgently. "Please give me one more chance. I won't mess up anymore." He didn't answer, but only glanced slightly at the blue roses on the table. Then he reached out and took the entire bouquet out of the vase. The bouquet was lifted very gently. The other man was now trembling and crying on the floor. He looked up and begged, "Please, please spare me." Then he frantically shook his head in resistance. When he saw what was in front of him, "No, don't. Yangmu held the bouquet in his hand, and forcefully raised it high in front of the man. Then he straightaway stabbed the bouquet down. A stream of red blood sprayed out as two roses were plunged directly into the man's eyes. Jin Jae-hi stood to one side, too terrified to speak. The person was still trembling and pleading, "Help, help, help me." Yangmu raised the remaining roses high again. A bloody scene immediately unfolded. The other man's screams echoed throughout the room. The man immediately collapsed onto the floor. Yangmu looked at the corpse and said coldly, "That's right, there are no second chances here." He turned to look at everyone, making everyone's face turn pale. "I believe everyone understands that." Even Jin Jae-hi didn't dare to speak up. Her face was pale right now, wasn't it? Yangmu coldly glanced and gave an order.
Yehi, no more excuses.
"Bring it here," she replied in fear. "Yes, I understand." The night sky outside the abandoned building appeared again. Jin Jae-hi was pacing back and forth anxiously. "Damn it, if this keeps up, I'm finished." She gritted her teeth and cursed in frustration. "Lim-san, pick up the phone, you bastard." The phone vibrated repeatedly. Lim Seon, sitting nearby, suddenly noticed it, looking at it anxiously, then slowly reached out to pick up the phone.
Lim Seon's voice hesitated.
"Hello?" The blonde guy by now had been beaten black and blue.
Seon?
Young Mi-ho sat on top of the blonde guy, then calmly recounted. "I originally intended to investigate on my own, but the punks here wouldn't listen." Hearing that, he was astonished. "Huh? What?" Young Mi-ho heard that and only coldly asked back, "You know Jin Jae-hi, right?" Young Mi-ho spoke indifferently on the phone. "At that time, you were the one who answered Jin Jae-hi's call, right?" On the other end of the line, Lim Seon asked back in surprise. "What?
Jin Jae?
Why did you?" He stood up. Behind him were the thugs, lying scattered on the ground as he spoke casually. It showed up right on the screen. "Do you know where she lives?" Lim Seon questioned. Why are you acquainted with Jin Jae-hai? Don't tell me those people have already found you. Young Mi-ho quickly denied it. No, it's not like that, he explained while walking. I am the one looking for her. There's something I need to confirm. He asked anxiously, you're looking for her yourself? Where are you now? He replied nonchalantly, at Jin Jae-hai's tattoo shop. But she isn't here. Suddenly something caught his attention. At the top of the stairs was a white cat, standing there. It froze when it caught Young Mi-ho's gaze. On this side, Lim Seon was anxiously putting on a jacket to go to him. Mi-ho, absolutely do not get involved with her. I'll be there with you right now, he asked back in surprise. Huh? Young Mi-ho hung up and glanced toward the cat. At this moment, the white cat was pretending to play with a gold bell. The cat's whole body trembled as he approached it. Hey you there, furball. That's right, I'm talking to you. He walked over and lifted it up to face him. He asked, you understand what I'm saying, right? The white cat pretended to meow a few times. He stared intently into its eyes. To speak so that I can understand. Making it tremble in fear, it then shouted, yes, sir. Young Mi-ho crossed his arms and questioned it. Last time was a rat, yesterday was a bat. Today it's a cat. He asked angrily, what on earth are you? I am. Only then did she reveal her identity. I am a supervisor from the demon realm sent to the human world. My mission is to monitor prisoners, without being detected. Shit gestured with her paws while explaining. That is why I have been silently observing you, Lord Ravis. She looked at Young Mi-ho in front of her and thought, your demonic energy is too weak. Are you truly a demon? Shit wondered and asked, but I don't understand how Lord Ravis was able to discover me. He answered nonchalantly, because you stand out too much. Young Mi-ho reminded her, and you're currently standing on 2 legs. Only then did she remember and panic. Oh no! He looked up and asked, what's the point anyway? His red eye looked toward Shit. Manifest yourself, master of this creature. Immediately, her eyes widened. On the other side, Banbi was sitting at his desk. He chuckled to himself, faster than I thought. He mocked Ravis, human life is quite fast, isn't it? He said in dissatisfaction. Banbi, is this your trick again? That bastard Banbi continued to tease. Calling your friend a bastard? How cold. Young Mi-ho questioned Banbi. What are you plotting this time? He leaned back lazily in his chair. Me, plotting? I'm not doing anything. He sighed. Forget it, I need to ask something. The scene returned to him and Shit talking. Everything is different from what I remember. Can ordinary prisoners use mana in the human world? She thought for a moment. Mana? Well, every rule has an exception. Banbi answered vaguely. Then you'll soon understand for yourself. Anything else you want to ask? Young Mi-ho did. The scent of that flesh-eating flower is very strong in this world. Banbi, you've smelled it before, so you must know. It's a forbidden flower even in the demon realm. Yet I can sense it here. He rested his chin on his hand in thought. The demon realm supervisors already know. The Hilt family's influence has reached the human world. They are persistent pests, so it can't be said they've been completely wiped out. Young Mi-ho looked up and added, so it really is the Hilt family again? You mean their remnants are in the human world? Banbi lightly brushed his hair. Lavis, he explained. The human world is no longer what it used to be. It's a playground for all sorts of conspiracies. Banbi clasped his hands together. This actually makes things more convenient. Since you're already there, why don't you just sweep them all away while you're at it? He was extremely surprised. What? Sweep them all away? What the hell are you saying? Through Shit, Young Mi-ho asked further, hey Banbi, explain clearly to me what on earth is going on. Suddenly the cat started meowing again. He stared at the cat with annoyance, and cursed under his breath. Damn it. Night fell over a corner of the city. Jin Jae-hai was angrily staring at her phone. He's not picking up. Time is running out. She screamed in anger. That bastard Lim, has he lost his mind? He's not even answering the phone? Jin Jae-hai tapped repeatedly on her phone. Truly annoying. She cursed Lim Seon under her breath. You're dead meat. Then she called someone. Mobile phone, Jae-hai. At that moment Song-jun was at an internet cafe when he received the call. Jin Jae, what's up? On the other end, she shouted. Song-jun, get to the office right now. Jin Jae-hai clenched her fist in anger. We're gonna catch that bastard Lim Seon. The sky today was very cloudy. Young Mi-ho spoke up and asked, since you are a supervisor, you must know quite a bit of information about the human world, right? Shit broke into a sweat. I suppose so, because I have to take turns monitoring prisoners, so I am updated frequently. on basic information, and my tracking ability is also quite good. Young Miho spoke up. Return to your original form. She asked back in surprise. Yes, wait, what? He immediately changed his expression to a threatening look at shit. Do you want me to help you? She immediately refused. No, sir. Then she clasped her hands together, emitting a pink light that was extremely blinding to him. She transformed into a pretty little girl with sea blue hair. Her feet slowly touched the ground as she walked in front of him. She looks truly weak. Young Miho looked at her before him and thought, but Banbi must have a reason for sending you here. He wondered, what is your name? She sadly lowered her head. I don't have a personal name. His face remained expressionless. Shit, that is your name because I picked you up from the street. Never forget where you came from. Her eyes widened with joy. Shit, my name. She stepped closer to him and said happily, I understand. Lord Ravis, thank you very much for naming me. He asked further, now, tell me everything you know about the human world. Shit sat obediently and replied, yes, sir. Outside in the city, Lim Seon ran through the streets, drenched in sweat. Miho is in danger. I should have refused to the very end. He remembered holding a bouquet of flowers and a trophy. He thought to himself, I can't believe I actually won. Suddenly someone called out, Lim Seon. It was Jin Jae-hai, standing amidst a crowd of thugs. You're the developer who won the prize, right? She added, I heard the prize money was only 50 million. Jin Jae-hai smiled with narrowed eyes. Now you're a valuable asset. Throw him in the car. Lim Seon's face was filled with panic as his scream rang out and the bouquet was dropped behind. Lim Seon was captured and put inside the car. There were several people standing guard outside. Yang Mu, sitting in the back, spoke up, why are you trembling? This is just a business transaction. Look beside you. Next to where he sat was a suitcase full of money. 50 million won in cash. Hand over the application you made to us. Despite being terrified, he still protested. I didn't make this to sell it. Yang Mu looked out the car window without saying a word. A moment later he finally spoke. That's just your opinion.
Li mais ça un trembled, souhaite pourring daoun incessant li.
Back to the present, he was running as fast as he could on the street, thinking to himself, I have to get there quickly. I can't let him meet Jin Jae-hai. Suddenly, he bumped into someone.
Lim Saun Panika, Im Suri.
Suddenly his eyes went wide. Song Jun put his hands in his pockets. Look at this, a tasty snack delivered right to me. Lim Seon stood beside him, utterly terrified. Jin Jae-hai, standing behind, spoke up. Lim Seon. She looked at him with a bizarre gaze. You're finished this time, kid. He gasped in fear. No. Lim Seon's desperate scream echoed through the dark night. Jin Jae-hai looked down from above and ordered, from now on, your only job is to manage this app. If you don't want to be locked up for life, you'd better do it properly. Lim Seon jumped up in a panic. Wait, hold on. Though he wanted to plead, she ignored him and walked away. We will be monitoring your every move from the outside, so don't try anything stupid. Lim Seon sat on the ground, watching the door close. No, he gritted his teeth and closed his eyes tight. It's all over. Song Jun stood outside the door with his arms crossed, looking in. Then he asked in a suspicious voice, is that guy really a programmer? He looked so green. Standing beside him, she also looked a bit skeptical, but still recounted their words. They said if we want to distribute the blue ribbon we must have it. The man asked indifferently, the app he made is called I'm Here, right? How does that relate to distribution?
Li mais ça un.
Was slapped in the head by the guards for not working. He whimpered and wanted to cry but didn't dare. He could only obediently comply, while the people outside ignored him to gossip. Even the name sounds like total trash. The screen showed the app's interface, with illustrations of both male and female genders on it. Yang Mu walked over from afar to check the situation. Is everything ready? He looked through the transparent glass to observe the inside. The thing that Lim Seon made is the core of the Blue Ribbon project. As long as we have the buyer's data in our hands, we can manipulate the market as we wish. Their eyes were filled with ambition. He briefly explained the capabilities of that app. The real-time location sharing feature in I'm Here will be the main weapon to expand the business. Song Jun crossed his arms and smiled brightly. Are we finally starting to sell the blue ribbon? Boss Yangmu cast his eyes down at his hand. His hand toyed with the blue pill. His voice replied gloomily, that's right, the blue ribbon. He gave a mocking laugh. then imagined a vision of the future. It's time to show the whole world. Afterward, the school side also started to get into an uproar. Hey Cho Yuri, register for this and add me as a friend. What is this? The female student showed the app screen. Just accept the friend request and you get a refund. 30,000 per person. These girls' eyes lit up at the mention of money. Everyone was excited, ignoring the hidden danger behind it. Oh my god, really? If I add 3 people I get a whole 100,000? This is crazy, I want it too. I want it too. Park Hymin, get over here quickly and add me too. Some were still hesitant and didn't dare to follow. What is this for exactly? But in return there was only anger. Just do what I told you, you bitch. The 3 of them huddled together to watch the fun. There's even a registration event. On the screen were lines of text designed to attract teenage girls. Diet pills. I'm here, blue ribbon registration event. Just register to receive a blue ribbon diet product for free. This is a functional food approved by the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety. Blue ribbon? Even the name is so pretty. Oh my god. On the other side, Jean Jae-hai couldn't believe it. What is this? The number of users increased this much in just one day. She looked at her phone and laughed with joy. This is crazy. Song-joon saw this and took out his phone to check too, as expected of boss Young-moo. While immersed in joy, suddenly Jean Jae-hai stood up in annoyance and asked, anyway, haven't you caught the bastard who trashed my shop yet? The people cleaning up the aftermath cautiously reported back. Actually, I checked the cameras, but she pursed her lips, doubting their words. Abba? Why would there be a bat there? So they went to the security room. Look at this. On the screen was a large bat, right over the camera lens. Is that thing looking straight into the camera? Jean Jae-hai asked irritably, what about the other cameras? The staff member awkwardly turned on the others for her to see. First a crow, then rats, taking turns blocking the screens, making her furious. Damn rats. Jean Jae-hai frowned and screamed, what the hell is this? Suddenly Song-joon's phone vibrated. He opened it to see a message. He called out to her, Jae-hai. She turned her head irritably and asked, what? What he said made Jean Jae-hai freeze, forgetting her previous anger. Let's go. I heard a new batch of blue ribbon just arrived. The afternoon sun began to set. Young Mi-ho stared blankly at the ground. He asked helplessly, hey shit, what are you doing down there? She quickly transformed into a human and explained, Lord Ravis, I've gained a little weight lately. He didn't care and asked directly about the main issue. Where is the investigation I assigned yesterday? Shit spoke excitedly in a flow. It was absolutely not easy, but I finally tracked it down. Young Mi-ho looked at Shit's habit and only replied indifferently. Is that so? Back then, he had punched out a guy who was carrying blue ribbons on his person. Young Mi-ho leaned down to pick them up. He carefully held them to his nose to sniff. I knew it, the scent of the flesh-eating flower. Then he looked down at the blonde guy with the smashed nose. So they used this thing to awaken. Young Mi-ho frowned in thought. But flesh-eating flowers cannot be cultivated without a host. How did they get a flower that has been wiped out? Even in the demon realm? Shit talked on and on, repeating the information that she had investigated. The candy you told me to investigate is called blue ribbon. It is spreading through the human world, in many forms, such as diet pills and supplements. He continued to ask, what about the ingredients? She looked at his face anxiously and reported cautiously, because blue ribbon is produced in extreme secrecy. It's very difficult to trace the source of the ingredients. Young Mi-ho made a distorted, angry face at her. What? So you haven't investigated anything useful? Shit was so frightened she didn't dare move. It's not like that, she explained tearfully. The finished products are being distributed at breakneck speed, and because the quantity is so large, just by following the dense traces of demonic energy, we will find the production site. He stepped forward and poked her forehead, questioning her. Then shouldn't you have gone there a long time ago? Shit didn't dare argue and only spoke the truth. That's because Lord Banby told me to go with Ravis. Hearing that name made him frown in annoyance. What, Bambi? Are you reporting everything to him? She clutched her forehead, which was poked red, and stammered a plea. I'm sorry, Lord Ravis. I am just a lowly creature forced to obey both of you. Young Mi-ho put his hands in his pockets and asked seriously. Listen, shit. Choose right now, me or Bambi. Who is your true master? She stammered with tears in her eyes. I. At this moment, he was no different from a demon inviting her to his side. If you choose me, I will make it so you are no longer just a lowly creature, shit, thinking of becoming a noble lady holding a fan. Laughing haughtily, she bowed her head deeply to him. I vow to silently offer my flesh and blood to you. Junge Mio smiled triumphantly. Good, I, Lavis Vindica, shall take you as my private subordinate. She looked at him as if looking at her true master. After those words, Bambi's image flew right out of Shit's head. He smirked and chased the guest away. Get lost, Bambi. Now, set out for the place where the blue ribbons are gathered. She immediately replied yes. From sunset until it was completely dark, she led Young Miho to a desolate place filled with large cardboard boxes. Shit ran near a red container and said, "It's here, the place where the blue ribbon's demonic energy is densest." He followed and ordered her, "Open one up and let's see." She hesitated because of the chains wrapped around the box. But the lock is... Young Miho didn't say much. He used action. Move aside. He threw a punch. With one strike, dozens of chains shattered completely. The lock was broken, and the door opened accordingly. Shit used her nose to sniff for anything strange. Both of them hurriedly covered their noses and backed away. A foul stench made them want to gag. Looking at the paper boxes piled up inside, everything was indescribably creepy. Shit frowned in disbelief. Is all of this? Young Miho wasn't doing much better. Blue ribbon. The two of them glanced around. Baka's laughter echoed throughout the mountain. He punched Ravis repeatedly, while mocking him, as Ravis could only raise his arms in defense. My cute, arrogant nephew Ravis, you're still as pathetic as ever. His arms were swollen from the punches, yet he couldn't counter. Back then, Ravis was still small, so being reckless was normal. What a scary and vulgar uncle. Baka leaned back and put all his strength into this final blow. If you exist in this world, only for the sake of cuteness, then you should just die. His eyes widened as he raised his arms to block. The moment the punch connected, his face turned pale from the sheer intensity. But even so, Ravis refused to surrender and continued to hold his ground. Seeing his determination, the man broke into a satisfied smile. However, the end result was that he was still punched off the cliff by Baka. A desperate scream rang out loudly. Seeing himself about to hit the ground from a height of 1,000 meters, he cursed his uncle at the top of his lungs. Damn it! The man stood on the cliff looking down, laughing hysterically. Are you planning to die like that? Then Baka also hurled himself down after him. Ravis trembled as he hit the ground, in unspeakable pain, while he landed lightly, not forgetting to check in. Are you dead yet, Lavis? He pouted in anger, but then something else caught both of their attention. Baka looked into the distance and saw many flowers growing. Flesh-eating flowers? They're here? Ravis jumped up, eyes wide as he stared at them. His surprise gradually turned into fear. When darkness and light were separated, no creature could exist on the opposite side. Other entities were born that could not be absorbed by either side. At some point in time, the ancient people looked down together at that strange object. The first flowers bloomed when they converged. They scratched their heads, wondering why flowers were growing on a human body. Furthermore, the corpse looked as if its soul had been sucked dry, and their purpose for existing, something that swallowed fallen angels and corrupt demons, is to destroy the world. A flower with a beautiful appearance, but in reality terrifying enough to cause shudders. The uncle and nephew stood before a roaring fire. Baka crossed his arms and smiled, while Ravis looked forward with a serious expression. Young Miho covered his nose and muttered, "They should have all been burned back then." Shit stood beside him and agreed, "Me too, Demon King. But why are there so many? No one knows how many. Containers inside are filled with those flowers." He turned to ask her from the start, "Did you know those flowers grow in the human world?" Shit was startled, not knowing anything. This is an intermediary place, mixing both darkness and light. The human world belongs to no side and can travel anywhere. He stroked his chin in thought. Based on human history, I know humanity dealt with them thousands of years ago, but actually, Young Miho's eyes narrowed as he glanced behind him. If they appear in both worlds simultaneously, then someone has definitely had a hand in it. She frowned, nodded, and turned in the direction he was looking. Indeed, someone. A man switched on a flashlight. The light shining on them made her uncomfortable. She closed her eyes as from a distance, a whole group of people slowly approached. The man with the light pointed angrily. I wondered where that noise was coming from. How dare you come here? Do you know where this is? Then someone recognized them. Shit, quickly report to Jean Jaehai. Damn it, Jaehai, that bitch. That bitch went to the tattoo shop. She recognized her too and pointed her out to Young Miho. That woman is Jaehai, Lord Ravis. She frowned and questioned loudly. How dare you trash my tattoo shop? And how did you track down this place? He didn't care about the tattoo shop, only asking about what was in the cardboard boxes. Jinjay, are you the one managing this stock? She cursed him rudely. What is this nerd talking about? What if I am? Young Miho continued to ask. Do you know the original source material for this? Jean Jaehai burst out laughing at the question. Original source material? Are you trying to steal business secrets now? He sighed, appearing reluctant. Even though it's none of my business. But his gaze suddenly became serious. It looks like I'll have to deal with you first. Ignoring it will be a bit of an eyesore. She thrust her hand into her pocket, planning to take something out while not forgetting to swear. You dog, you know what happens if you cause trouble in front of Young Mu again, don't you? She pulled out a handful of blue ribbons for the subordinates to see. Here is a special gift. They looked at them with craving. One of them, unable to believe it, asked back, Take this. Are you really giving this to us? Jean Jaehai smirked and ordered, Shut up and eat up. The whole space went silent, save for the sound of those four chewing and swallowing. Young Miho gave her an order. Sorry, shit, with your current mana level, you're just a burden. Find a place to hide. She quickly found a hiding spot. Understood, Demon King. After those people finished eating, they suddenly became different human beings. Their eyes were vacant, wearing strange smiles as if they wanted to eat him alive. Jean Jaehai didn't need to do anything. She simply pointed at him and ordered, Teach that brat a lesson. They moved as fast as lightning, vanishing from where they stood. Candy wrappers were scattered all over the ground. They rushed forward like madmen, thinking that there is strength in numbers. Young Myo laughed mockingly. Arrogant fools, drowning in your own delusions. Not only was he not afraid, but he also provoked them loudly. Bring it on. The amount of mana here is extremely abundant and rich. The brown-haired guy lunged first, but he dodged and quickly ducked down. One punch knocked him out. The one behind rushed up screaming. That's enough. He used his leg to strike the neck, causing him to foam at the mouth in pain. The remaining one took advantage of being out of sight to play dirty. To his surprise, Young Miho saw everything. Not only that, but his reflexes were incredibly fast. So before he could stab with the knife, his movement path had already been clearly seen. An uppercut from below made him collapse. Suddenly, Young Myo spun around. The brown-haired one desperately lunged forward to grab him. He gritted his teeth and cursed, This bastard. The man screamed, ignoring his nose which was bleeding from being punched. Young Miho was thrown to the ground. The big guy behind quickly ran over. He planned to use his massive knee to ram into him, but he was faster. He folded his arms for an absolute defense. Shit, hiding behind the cardboard boxes, anxiously poked her head out to watch. Lord Ravis. Jean Jaehai wore the smile of a winner. The whole gang was like they had inhaled drugs, showering Young Miho with punches. He could only use his bare hands to defend himself. He gritted his teeth and observed, their physical strength is too high. Is it because they ate more than last time? So then, his eyes glanced to the right. Seeing him lunging toward the red container, they chased after him. Young Miho used his bare hand to punch through a paper bag, pulling out another purple bag from inside. Before being caught, he spun around and threw the purple bag out. The four people rushing up were stopped in their tracks. By the smoke and dust, they panted in pain as if they were about to die. He gritted his teeth and told himself, I don't like this low-grade stimulant, but the mana is surging more intensely. Even Young Miho had inhaled that thing called blue ribbon. One of them couldn't take it and covered his mouth, gagging, but before he could do anything, he was grabbed by the face and pushed back. He was in pain as he was pinned to the ground and beaten. Young Miho, like a frenzied demon, swung his fists. One punch, then two, leaving the brown-haired man spitting blood and unconscious. Someone tried to sneak attack, but he dodged easily. Next, he gripped the man's leg firmly, and performed a body slam, leaving the opponent unable to react. Not yet finished, he held the leg tight with the intention of stomping. That man's foot was practically crippled. He screamed in pain, but it was useless. The big guy, fearless, still dared to charge. But with just one hand, Young Mi-ho easily punched him, distorting his face. The man staggered and collapsed to the ground. He quickly closed in on the man's back and lifted him up. His eyes have lost focus. He only knows how to charge and attack. Such a small body, yet he wrestled the big guy down to the ground. Jin Jae-hai backed away in fear. What the hell is happening? How can he take down the whole group? After finishing off the 4 of them, Young Mi-ho began to lift his head. She looked as if she'd seen a ghost, her face turning pale. His gaze now was no different from a monster, wanting to devour her alive. Jin Jae-hai was so scared she shuddered. He's a monster. How is this possible? His blood-red eyes were staring intently at her. At a different performance, on stage was a young girl in a ballet dress. The auditorium was packed with people watching. Kang Hyunju breathed steadily to regain her composure. From inside the room, her mother's voice echoed out. That's right, Yuria, she's my daughter. Kang Hyunju's mother looked up at the projection screen, watching her daughter's performance. While watching, she talked incessantly about her talent. My child can easily join the Venus Ballet Company. With that level of skill. Yangmu opened the door and walked in arrogantly without permission. There you are, our VIP customer. She questioned him angrily. Who are you? How dare lowlives like you come in here? Do you know where you are? No. He laughed scornfully and replied, lowlives? Huh? Pardon us, but we received a very large order for Blue Ribbon, so we came in person to deliver the goods. She was startled, looking at the blue medicine bottle. What? Her eyes widened in disbelief. This is. Yangmu sat calmly on the chair. Why do you look so tense? We've taken care of everything, from production to sales, so you don't need to worry. She asked hesitantly, will there be any side effects from this? He glanced at her with contempt. Now you're asking? Yangmu looked at the screen where Kang Hyunju was performing. You've given your daughter plenty of doses, before sending her off onto that stage. At that same moment, her gaze suddenly changed. Her feet, which were dancing gently, suddenly spun multiple times. She opened her eyes wide in disbelief. Wait, Yuria. Bloodshot veins filled her eyes. Her mouth also gradually began to foam. It was unclear if she was still conscious or not. Her fingers were raised but were extremely stiff. Yangmu feigned surprise and exclaimed, oh dear. The side effects arrived faster than expected. How many pills did you give the girl?
Kang Hyunju
was now no different from a puppet, being controlled by that drug. She stood up anxiously and screamed loudly, but it couldn't reach her daughter's ears at all. Yuria, stop. On the stage, Kang Hyunju spun beautifully but also very fast. Then she slammed down onto the ground. Seeing this, the audience members all screamed. The whole crowd was in an uproar, unable to sit still. What is happening? Why did she fall? Security also rushed onto the stage. To examine her condition, she covered her mouth, unable to believe her own eyes. Tears welled up in regret, but it was already too late. She turned around to vent her anger on Yangmu. You bastard, you said there were no side effects. No. He shamelessly shifted the blame back to the victim. That only applies if you use the correct dosage. Anyway, your daughter is beyond saving. Kang Hyunju's body was covered in protruding veins. Her eyes were wide and twitching as if she were about to die. He continued to brainwash her. She will only live if you meet her needs, by satisfying her with these drugs, right? Young Mu went from a dealer to someone of status before her. Now she won't be able to live without Blue Ribbon for the rest of her life. As one of our VIP customers, she clutched her head and screamed loudly, as if wanting to escape her responsibility, as well as the consequences she created. No, do you know how much I had to invest in her? He smirked with delight, ignoring the other person's suffering. Suddenly, the phone in his pocket rang. He opened it to see Jin Jae-hai was calling. Instead of answering immediately, Yangmu pondered for a few seconds. It was as if he saw something very strange. What the hell? On the screen, Jin Jae-hai looked terrified. I'm sorry, Mr. Yangmu. Young Mi-ho shoved her head aside, looked straight into the camera, and asked, are you the one who produced the blue ribbon? His eyes widened in complete surprise. Looking at your appearance, I've already guessed. It's you, isn't it? Come here. Yangmu immediately hung up the phone. His voice announced gloomily, but it was more like an order. Dear customer, we have an urgent matter and must leave. Evening, at the site of the cardboard boxes where the fight just occurred, Shit looked curiously at the bodies scattered on the ground. Why do humans like taking drugs so much?
Yung Myo answered bluntly.
Because they are ignorant and arrogant. He looked at the blue candy in his hand and mocked. Even when taking drugs, they remain haughty, believing they won't get addicted. They don't believe in anything. They just conveniently cling to small pleasures. Shit jumped up and pointed behind. Lord Ravis, over there. Jean Jai looked overjoyed, as if she had met her savior.
Brother yang MU.
He approached, leading a few men. Was the incident at the tattoo shop you're doing too? He tilted his head fearlessly and asked, were you looking for me? Young Miho pointed indifferently toward the paper boxes. I have no interest in someone like you. Where did you get that pile from? Then his eyes narrowed as he looked at him suspiciously. For an ordinary person, this would be quite difficult. Yangmu froze, unable to believe his ears. What, an ordinary person? The way he looked at him gradually changed. Don't tell me this, brat. In the past, vials of drugs were scattered on the ground. What's wrong? Has the old man fainted? He kicked the weak, thin man, while ordering, give me more drugs. The more he kicked, the angrier he became. What kind of old man is this? Seeing him foaming at the mouth, not knowing when he died, Yangmu couldn't believe his eyes. Dead? He vented his anger and drug addiction onto his own father. Damn it, lived his whole life getting high and now dies of an overdose. He exhaled a tired breath. If dying like that, then how am I supposed to get drugs for myself now? After saying that, Yangmu mercilessly stepped directly on the corpse. He kicked and cursed to vent his frustration. How am I going to find more? Suddenly, the old man's eyes lit up brightly. He backed away in a startle. Old man, I thought you kicked the bucket. The old man didn't answer but slowly sat up. The thing responding wasn't human, but a demonic spirit. Are you sad because he died? Yangmu wasn't afraid at all, only glaring back as he asked, what kind of devil are you? It didn't answer, only continued to speak. If you are sad, I will return him to you. Yangmu, as if hearing a joke, clutched his chest and laughed out loud.
Sad?
He's finally gone. Why should I be sad? He screamed in a mad rage. I don't need a trash father. I only need drugs. Drugs, that phantom coldly replied. Is that so? It held out a flower to him and ordered, then nourish this flesh-eating flower with his body. The ghost continued to coax him. Faith will be built between us, and you will have what you desire. Yangmu took the flower and looked at it skeptically. If anyone appears to reject your loyalty and cast aside the flesh-eating flower, then eliminate them. My faith will protect you. His gaze shifted from an addict's to a demon's. The beautiful flower in his hand felt like a massive treasure. Yangmu broke into a cruel smile. He did not hesitate to stuff the flower into his father's corpse, causing fresh blood to splatter everywhere. Returning to the present, Yangmu looked at Youngmiho and asked, you said I'm just an ordinary person? He pondered as if he understood. It seems you've put your faith in something. He didn't hide it at all. Instead, he even felt grateful. Correct. He gave me a new life. Everything was happening exactly as he thought. As expected, he had made a contract with a demon. He tilted his head and cracked his knuckles. I don't know what kind of trash you've placed your faith in, but you and that bastard are pathetic. Yangmu glared with rage. How dare you insult him? He ordered the two men following behind. Bring him to me. Shit panicked and quickly looked for a hiding spot again. Youngmiho only needed a few seconds. This is getting boring. Let's end this quickly. After that, various cries of pain echoed throughout the forest. The ambulance sped down the road. When we open I'm here, the number of orders will truly explode. Blue ribbon is sweeping everywhere. Inside the vehicle, she clutched the medicine bottle tightly, watching her daughter receive emergency care, with her life hanging in the balance. Outside, female students were opening the interface of the expanding VIP customers to the entire nation will no longer be a problem, right? She joyfully received the bottle, unaware of the hidden risks. Damn, are we going to become a global enterprise? Some people lay scattered on the floor after taking it, twitching like addicts. Songjun's gang happily looked at the results. I think brother Yangmu has already started taking over the Chinese and Japanese markets. If it's brother Yangmu, it's not impossible. Lim Sun sat in silence inside, not knowing what to say. He bit his nails, tormenting himself. Because I made the app. The drug is spreading too fast. His face contorted as if he were about to cry. In his heart, he pleaded 1,000 times. Someone please stop this. On the other side, the 2 bodyguards were quickly defeated. Jin Jae-hai was tied up, kneeling on the ground and screaming. Look at this, brother Youngmu. This guy isn't human anymore. And Young Miho sighed and looked at him. Why don't you come here?
Yang Mu remained silent.
He remembered the words the Phantom once told him. If anyone appears to reject your loyalty and cast aside the flesh-eating flower, then eliminate them. He took out 3 candy pills in Yangmu's hand, putting the drugs into his mouth and chewing voraciously as ordered. By Lord Babekep Irhiga, the woman sitting nearby screamed. Yangmu, I don't think. He's just a high school student. He might be the one making the new drug. Youngmiho raised an eyebrow. What? New drug? Me? You're thinking about that? He suddenly froze when he realized the man was right behind him. His eyes glanced backward. Youngmiho quickly blocked the punch. In a brilliant manner, Yangmu was no pushover and countered immediately. He held his hands out as a shield. He's too fast. On a completely different level compared to those other guys. As if sensing his thoughts, he smirked. How can you block my punches? Have you also received the blessing from him? He coldly asserted. He is my god, only mine. Youngmiho seemed to realize the situation. Now I understand. The reason for the flesh-eating flowers and this disgusting smell. The god you worship. The name behind this, to speak the truth, is Bavkerhul, right? As expected, this move stunned him. What? How dare you speak his name? He then taunted. He chose a failure like you, not trusting anyone. Yangmu not only didn't listen but grew furious. Don't insult the one who saved me. He acted as if he didn't care. Sure, he saved you. You must have looked pathetic when he called your name. While he was hiding away, he roared, his mouth dripping with saliva. Shut up, he is not someone for you to mock. The next second, a series of punches were unleashed, all of which he managed to withstand. In Young Miho's determined eyes, a spark of murderous intent flashed. Bavkerhul. He has truly come to this world. In the demon realm there were piles of corpses. The living dead were piled into heaps. Ravis was running wild in the demon realm. You coward, one of you is hiding in that corner. Terrified upon hearing his taunts, all you know how to do is run away. His eyes just swept past, devoid of any warmth. Youngmyo no longer sat still taking the hits, but stood up, being worshipped like royalty here. You bastard, where are you hiding? Yangmu still didn't realize the danger and acted defiant. You dog, you are not allowed to talk about Lord Bavkapir. He roared, his body emitting a strange light. It seemed like he was transforming. He quickly covered his nose because of the stench, this foul smell. Yangmu's mouth kept mumbling. Anyone who insults Lord Bobby will be dealt with by me personally. He lunged forward to grab him. A powerful kick landed right in his stomach. He grabbed his shirt and pulled him away when he slumped. A second later, he hoisted Young Miho up, then without hesitation, slammed him hard onto the ground. He gritted his teeth in pain up here.
Yang Mu
continued to punch Young Miho's face frantically. He punched while screaming about both the blue ribbon and Lord Bobby. Once you touch the supreme being in his heart, I certainly will not show mercy. It's all mine. He gritted his teeth, struggling to defend himself. This bastard has consumed too much mana and lost his mind. He really wants to kill me. He suddenly roared, delivering the final blow. He wasn't about to lose and let his own power flare up. Shit sat trembling in the corner, praying silently. Lord Lavis. She watched Young Miho lying still, taking the beating. She was beyond worried. He has reached the limit of that mortal body already. She thought to herself if this were the demon realm. She speculated whenever she remembered if he could truly use mana in the demon realm. Banbi had also observed the situation. It seems the test subject for the flesh-eating flower has gone berserk. I thought that with the demon bloodstone in hand, even while inside a human body, Lavis could still easily control the test subjects. He predicted, but maybe this time he will die, and his soul will dissipate forever. Baka questioned Banbi. Do you know what Lavis hates the most? He asked in confusion. Hate? He explained. He hates almost everything. It's hard to pick just one. Banbi nodded as if he understood and let out a sigh. Is it that his temperament is a bit hot-headed? I wonder who he learned it from. There, Baka immediately exposed him. Don't mock me with that face of yours. I know everything. Having his bluff called, he turned his face away. He uttered a single word. Filth. Noticing Banbi's bewilderment, Baka chuckled softly. He is obsessed with things that aren't clean. Up here, the battle continued between the defender and the attacker. Before the next strike landed, Young Miho quickly blocked it. Filthy. Yongmu froze for a few seconds when he saw he was blocked. What? He screamed. I can't stand it anymore. This rotting stench you are emitting. The hands that were holding back. His fist was suddenly squeezed tight. He felt the pain and instinctively let go. Watching him slowly stand up, Yongmu had to back away. What the hell? Young Miho looked at his hand with doubt, using only the left hand. It was as if an electric current ran through him. And I feel like I'm using the hand of my own true body. Young Miho looked at him with a calm expression. Yongmu remained furious from start to finish. One of his hands was enveloped in a flame. I don't want to touch your stinking body. But this time, Young Miho was no longer yielding like before. Let's end this quickly. A devastating punch landed squarely on his face. Yongmu doubted. What? How can a brat have this kind of power? Lewis was full of joy. Lavis. Young Miho looked cold. A brat has what? No. Without letting his body recover, another strike was delivered. Yongmu felt the pain and fell backward. The woman with him collapsed and backed away a few steps. He had realized the danger. Who the hell are you? He reminded him. Stop babbling with your foul mouth. Yongmu took another agonizing punch. Banbi down below was stunned. Suddenly so strong? Baka explained. Lavis. That kid. Seems he's dazed by the stench that the test subject emitted after awakening. Looking at his toughness, it's enough to prove it. It must be difficult to approach because Lavis hates filth more than anything. He leaned back and smirked. When fear takes over, his body will automatically awaken, allowing him to borrow a small portion of his true power. His voice trembled. Are you saying he can use his power, even within a human body? Banbi's eyes widened as he realized, even with the demon bloodstone, this should be impossible. For a sinner's body to use the power of the demon realm. Baka had realized it from the very beginning. Lavis is no ordinary person. He asserted with full confidence, no matter what anyone says, Lavis is my successor. On this side, Yongmu had been beaten to a pulp. Young Miho aggressively approached and warned, You fool, consider yourself lucky. He looked at him and coldly declared, I will sentence you to death using this body. Yongmu was pushed into a weak position. No way. Why? I, the one who received blessings from Lord Bavkapir. He propped himself up, groping around, looking behind in utter confusion. A faint smile appeared on Yongmu's face. That's right, Lord Bavkapir's blue ribbon is. Just as he was about to strike, Young Miho grabbed him. Don't try any tricks. He took his stance. I'll end this, but I won't kill you. His feet pressed against the ground to gain momentum. Then, without hesitation, he lunged forward. He opened his eyes wide as if accepting the outcome. It was another direct punch to the face impossible to defend. Young Miho gripped his hand, then let go. His body was gradually changing. It seemed to be merging as one with the wall. Young Miho reached inside his shirt, pulled out a handkerchief, and wiped the remaining traces off his face. The smell has finally faded a bit. A train of thought suddenly appeared as he looked at the data table. Running on the screen. No, this can't be. Lim Esayan stared intensely at the computer screen, sweating buckets. This isn't what I wanted. The scene of him, sitting quietly alone at school appeared. School cliques, forced relationships within the class. That couldn't be avoided. Then the scene of Lim Esayan standing from afar, silently watching a group bullying a classmate, just to live in peace without becoming a target. Pretending to like this person or hate that person, without having to act close. That student was frightened to tears. I only wanted to help everyone, have a place to find the connections they need. Lim Seon and Young Mio looked toward those people with apprehensive eyes. But he, Lim Seon, gritted his teeth in anger. I didn't create it to sell stimulants. or to do business of any kind.
Lim S1S fin G.
Seemed to be stimulated by something. As they flew across the keyboard, lines of code on the screen rushed by like arrows. While Lim S1 was gritting his teeth typing code, the phones of the people outside suddenly notified an error, leaving them utterly confused. What's this? Why is it suddenly showing an error? The hell, mine too. He glanced at the people behind him and gritted his teeth, thinking to himself, hurry up. Then Lim S1 suddenly stood up and quickly used a chair to block the door. The door was swiftly barricaded by him with the chair. The people outside now understood the reason and frantically banged on the door. Damn it, what is that bastard doing? Go in and check. Hey, open the door. Open the door for us, now. Lim S1 quickly worked his hands while thinking, I have to delete the app permanently. Songjun was outside and saw this, so he roared in anger. Hey, you idiots, open the door quickly. Lim S1 looked at the computer screen anxiously. Hurry up, please. A red warning symbol suddenly appeared in the corner of the screen. At the same time, the group outside used a chair to smash the glass partition. They cursed angrily and quickly jumped in, making him extremely terrified. You son of a bitch. One of them angrily slapped Lim S1 very hard. What the hell are you doing? The blonde guy went to the computer screen and screamed, he really wants us to go bankrupt. Hearing that, the other guy grew even angrier and kicked him hard. You miserable brat. June stood nearby and shouted, urging the blonde guy, damn it, stop it, hurry up. If brother Yongmu comes back, we're all dead. Lim S1 gritted his teeth, clutching his head while taking those powerful kicks, thinking to himself, I just need to hold on until the app is completely deleted. He suddenly reached out his hand, grabbing a shard of broken glass nearby. Somehow, Lim S1 turned around and swung his arm hard, using the glass shard to slash the dark-haired guy's leg until it bled. Then he quickly scrambled up and ran.
Lim S1
ran toward a nearby fire extinguisher and gritted his teeth, pulling the safety pin out forcefully. Then he spun his body around,
Lim S1
aimed the fire extinguisher hose directly at the crowd and angrily screamed, that belongs to me, you bastards. He was furious, spraying the fire extinguisher straight at the group, leaving them with no choice but to raise their hands to cover their faces. What the hell? Damn it, has this kid gone crazy? The program on the computer screen was now almost finished running. Holy shit, the blue loading bar was officially full. The program was completed accordingly. Lim S1 looked over with tearful eyes, filled with intense emotion. I did it. Seongyun, ignoring all danger, angrily rushed straight toward him. You son of a bitch. His hand powerfully squeezed Lim S1's neck, causing the fire extinguisher to slip from his hands. Songjun pinned Lim S1 firmly to the ground, then screamed in a rage, tie him up, bring something to restrain him. Two figures obscured in the mist hurriedly took the order upon hearing that. Yes, damn it.
Lim S1 struggled to escape Seongyun's
control while thinking to himself, no. He tried to open his eyes, which were already overflowing with tears. In the end, is this all I could achieve?
Seongyun glared at Lim S1.
You stupid brat. A tall figure suddenly appeared in the mist and spoke in a gloomy voice. How dare you touch my subordinate? Songjun turned his head in shock. Huh? A hand quickly lunged toward him. His two accomplices suddenly turned to look. When they heard a scream from behind, the blonde guy called out to Songjun. Young Mi-ho, holding his, Songjun's, bloodied head, turned around and shot a glance at the group. The two men were terrified and screamed, what the hell?
Seongyun.
Young Mi-ho saw the two of them and immediately tossed Songjun aside and rushed forward. He unleashed a series of moves, beating the blonde guy to a pulp. Before he could even resist, the two of them were quickly taken down by Young Mi-ho and collapsed onto the ground simultaneously. He looked at the group and spoke in a cold voice. How dare you touch my subordinate? Even if he were to die, I wouldn't allow it. Lim S1 looked up with his tearful eyes at Young Mi-ho. Mio. A scene of the two of them sitting under a porch suddenly appeared. At that moment, Lim S1 spoke up. Mi-ho, look at this, it's a new app one just made. Heard that and asked curiously, what app is that? An app interface suddenly appeared on the phone screen. People who are close to each other can gather on here to interact. If you live near them, you can share your address with that person and even form a study group together. Young Mi-ho was stunned, staring at the phone screen in front of him and exclaimed, "That's really cool. You even managed to make an app like this." He pointed at a symbol, a warning siren in the corner of the screen, and asked curiously, "So what is this?" Lim Seon heard that and answered, "That." Then he bowed his head sadly and said, "Recalling the time you were dragged away by those thugs. I'm sorry I couldn't do anything." And Lim Seon's eyes held an indescribable sadness. "At that time I really couldn't find where you were, so I added this feature." He began to explain the function of the red button on the screen. If you press it, it will show the location of where you are standing to those you have designated as friends. If that ever happens again, just press it and then. Lim Seon suddenly turned to look at Young Mi-ho and declared firmly, "Then no matter what, I will be there to help. I will report it or gather friends to come to your rescue." Hearing that, he let out a faint smile. The two of them busily downloaded the app together. "Thanks, I'll download it back too." Lim Seon was now looking up, with his tear-filled eyes at him. Young Mio only held up the phone screen in his hand and asked coldly, "You were the one who sent this, right?" Lim Seon became even more emotional and said, "You received my signal." The screen showed the interface of that application. Tears began to stream down Lim Seon's face. He propped his hands on the ground and sobbed gratefully. "Thank you, Mi-ho." Lim Seon knelt before Young Mi-ho and thanked him tremblingly. "Thank you so much." Outside, in that old alleyway, the sound of two people yelling and arguing echoed out. "Damn it, why is he so strong? Let me go." Shit me, who was currently handcuffing Jean, Jae-hai's hands behind her back, spoke up annoyedly. "Hey, stop squirming." She suddenly turned her head when she saw him and spoke in surprise. "Lord Lavis." Jean Jae-hai took this opportunity to quickly break free and run away, causing Shit to panic and scream. "Hey, stand still." Young Mi-ho spoke calmly to stop her. "Let her go, I don't need her anymore." He looked up at the building behind him and thought to himself, "First of all, it seems all of their flesh-eating flowers will be lost." A massive fire was erupting and showed no signs of being extinguished. Rescue workers and police quickly cleared the area and spoke urgently, "This fire hasn't spread yet. We must put it out immediately." A firefighter suddenly spoke up, "This is everyone. Inspector Seo." She was startled as she glanced over at the three bodies, lying scattered by the base of a tree. Her eyes widened in shock as she looked at them. These people. The blonde guy had been beaten to the point where blood covered his entire face, and his pupils were no longer intact. The three of them, Young Mi-ho, Lim Seon, and Shit, leisurely departed. Lim Seon suddenly said nothing but glanced over. Shit was currently happy, skipping and singing. As for Young Mi-ho, he thought to himself as he walked, "Why do I keep feeling like Baka is using me?" He frowned angrily and looked straight up at the sky. "When I get back, I won't let this slide." The streetlights were off. In the house of the three, Lim Seon asked about Young Mi-ho's injured hand. "Mi-ho, are you sure you don't need to go to the hospital?" With a decisive tone, he replied, "I'm sure. Going there is too much trouble." Lim Seon smiled slightly with a grateful tone. "Thank you, Mi-ho. I only sent the distress signal as a precaution, but I didn't expect you to actually show up."
Young Mi-ho suddenly realized something.
Speaking of which, he continued, "It's quite a coincidence. On the way here, before he could finish his sentence, Shit covered his mouth to stop him from saying more. Were you about to say that everything was just a coincidence?" Along the path that Jean Jae-hai led them, Shit grabbed her collar while interrogating her. "Is this really the way to your lair? If you dare lie to me, just look at that guy from earlier as an example." She replied resentfully, "Did you do all this for your friend Lim Seon? Is that why you were willing to push things this far?" Hearing this, Young Mi-ho seemed to guess and used psychological tactics to interrogate. "What? You're holding Lim Seon, slave number one?" "No wonder. I haven't seen him at school lately." Jean Jae-hai replied irritably with an annoyed tone. "What? If it wasn't for your friend, then what was your motive?" His phone screen flashed with the bell icon. Shit whispered and gossiped. to him about this matter. My lord, you absolutely must not mention coincidence here. Human relationships don't work like that. He looked reluctantly at her while she spoke. You aren't just living here for 1 or 2 years before returning to the demon realm, right? Lim Sun looked at him, his eyes sparkling with immense admiration. In the eyes of this student, Lord Lavis was no different from a hero who had stepped in to rescue him. He turned to her and asked him curiously, speaking of which, who is that? He replied, this guy, he's my subordinate. His name is Shit. Lim Saeun's eyes went blank in dazed confusion as he thought, subordinate? Could it be Miho? Without waiting, he immediately asked about his speculation. Hey Miho, can I ask you a question? Your sudden and absurd change, along with the appearance of a subordinate dressed so eccentrically, Lim Saeun gritted his teeth, trying to think that the current situation wasn't what he feared. He started to ask, you didn't, then lowered his face, thinking it was exactly as he suspected. Miho has joined some shady organization. I hope he hasn't gotten entangled with bad elements. Youngmi Ho thought that Lim Saeun must have guessed something. In the future, there is a high probability that many people will target my subordinates. The truth will eventually come out anyway. He shattered his thoughts by saying, exactly, you guessed correctly. I am the son of the great demon king from the demon realm, Lavis Vindica. Lim Saeun was left dazed in reality, not understanding a word he said. Who? Jung Myo-side. Since things have come to this, I have no choice. Now that you know who I am, from now on, you must help me with a few things. The boy still had no idea what he was talking about. Son of the great demon king? What on earth are you babbling about? Suddenly, something caused Lim Saeun to look down. Turned out to be the cat, making him scream. It's this cat again. Young Miho saw this, realized she was playing tricks, and was too lazy to explain. Shit, explain it to him. I've been fighting all day, so my body is exhausted. Shit, in the form of a cat, replied, yes, open your ears wide, and listen carefully to what I'm about to say.
Lim Saeun
Saw this, froze in terror, and screamed at the top of his lungs, a talking cat. The scene shifts to Yangmu tied up in the car. Detective Cha said everything had been burnt to ashes. We'll head out first. With a battered face, he was now filled with immense regret. That bastard. I should have been able to kill him. I should have been able to kill him. Suddenly, someone incredibly sinister approached. Who's there? This is a restricted area. It was Bobby. Are you? He stepped forward and placed his hand on Detective Cha's face. Shut up. Then he collapsed to the ground. He walked over to Han Yang. Poor child, you look truly pathetic. Seeing Bafkpir Hill before him, he screamed, Lord Bavuar, I will kill that bastard. Bafkpir Hill replied coldly, let's talk while we walk. In the forest, Inspector Seo was deep in thought. We just received a report that every distribution node has been suppressed. Who on earth did this? Holding the bag of drugs in her hand, she reflected. This drug was even approved by the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety too. Squeezing the bag of drugs in her hand, she was incredibly angry. A large quantity has already reached the students. Those damn bastards. Detective Cha was now groveling on the ground. My head hurts so much. Anxious, she ran back to ask Detective Cha, are you all right? He urgently replied, the car. Check the car first. At this moment, Han Yang had disappeared. She was extremely alarmed and surprised. It's impossible. She was both worried and pondering. What the hell is this? Where did that bastard disappear to? In the school where Bafkpir Hilt was with Han Yang. He knelt down. Lord Boar, please give me one more chance. He shouted as if he were going mad. Give me more drugs, my lord. If I have more drugs, I will take that bastard's life. Bafkpir Hug, holding a flower from the burned batch, spoke coldly. He said, do you have any idea how valuable the flowers that were just burned are? Surrounded by nothing but human corpses, cold purple flowers were woven upon them. Do you know how much effort I had to expend to collect all these people? He looked at the flower as if it were the last one. Humanity, they are all just a bunch of trash not worth trusting. My precious flowers. Han Yang, now terrified, pleaded, I just need one more chance. I'm begging you, I will definitely kill that bastard. Without letting him speak further, Bafkpir Hilt made the flower pierce through his eyes, making him scream in agony. My eyes. Bafkpir Hilt spoke without a shred of mercy. Do you remember the blood oath you swore to me? He uttered cold words. Use the flowers growing from your own self to prove your loyalty to me. Jean Jae-hi was now rummaging through the corner of the room looking for something. Damn it, I have to survive at all costs. If I can just grab the crypto wallet, I can run far away. She searched frantically. Damn it, what corner is it in? I went to the office, but the cops were there. Before she could finish her sentence, someone who no longer looked human appeared. Then he said, I just came in to check, but it turns out you're here. Jean Jae-hi started and backed away in fear. Who the hell are you? This is crazy. Why do you want to cause trouble at a time like this? He showed a look of hunger mixed with rage. You bore me. It's all your fault. Give me the blue ribbon. She gritted her teeth, her face full of anger. This glitched-out bastard. How many pills have you chewed already? Grabbing a wooden plank from the corner, she attacked him. You dog, what hole did you crawl out of? The blow didn't affect him at all, but instead sent her falling down. He jumped again. Damn it, give me the blue ribbon. Like he was going mad, he emitted a dark aura surrounding the blue ribbon. The aura bound Jean Jae-hi, making her unable to move. Damn it, at this point, she was crying in fear. I don't want to die like this. From the black smoke, Banbi appeared. If this happens, Lavis is going to be very annoyed. Jean Jae-hi didn't recognize who it was, only urgently cried for help. Who? Someone help me, please. Banbi spoke cold and merciless words. Sorry, I'm not that strong, and you already have a place reserved in hell anyway, so just accept it. Just submissively accept your fate, shall we? Bitter and humiliated, she sobbed in terror. Damn it, hell? Ow. And then Banbi, he smiled enough to make anyone feel afraid. But your body still has a use. In the human realm, in the territory where Inia stood, welcome, my little brother. Baka seemed to have been plotting something. Ever since sending Lavis to the human world, she turned to look at Baka with a cold gaze. How dare you use my son? Baka laughed delightedly. So you've realized? He continued, trying to reassure her. There's no need to worry. Lavis is grown up now. Do you think I just sent him off like that? I placed the blood demon stone in his body. At this, she completely exploded. What? The blood demon stone? You've completely lost your mind. Are you trying to announce to the whole world that the son of the great demon king is all alone in the human realm? I saw your worry, but he was too lazy to explain. Sister, why don't you try trusting Lavis a little? She simply replied calmly, it's not that I don't trust Lavis. I'm worried about the way this world is operating. She continued, even the smallest crack can cause everything to collapse. The current world is that unstable. Baka shattered her thoughts and retorted, Lavis is much stronger than you think. He's like me, belligerent, and his combat power far exceeds anyone else's. He was annoyed. She grabbed Baka's head, reproaching him, this brat. That is exactly the problem. If even a single strand of hair on Lavis's soul is harmed, both I and you are as good as dead. Is that clear? Seeing that he wasn't young anymore yet still bullied by his sister, he spoke resentfully. How old am I now, that you're still hitting me on the head? Banbi, search every magic book for me. Find a way to get rid of all the older sisters in this world. Banbi also disagreed. Shut up. I don't want a crazy younger brother like you. Can both of you just calm down? She angrily grabbed Baka's head and yanked it. Banbi thought, Lavis, it's truly a miracle that you could survive and grow up in an environment like this. Back to where Young Miho and Lim Esayan were. He shivered but still had to ask again. So you are really a demon, right? Young Miho replied, that is indeed what humans call us. She was delighted to hear him speak. He said, us. Lim Esayan worried. Now that I know the truth, will I go to hell when I die? He immediately replied, hell is right here. If you come with me to the demon realm, no one will be able to touch you. Acting dangerous, he said with a dark aura, because the sole successor of the great demon king, Lord Lavis, is your master. She boldly refused. No need to protect me. I don't want to go to a place like that. Seeing him so scared, he put on a teasing face. Just try talking back again. I'll pluck out Bambi's eyes and suck them like lollipops. Then what happened to the real Miho? Shit, in the form of a cat answered. Anyway, he was destined to die. In principle, only the bodies of such people can be used as vessels. At this point, he bit his lip, a look of sorrow on his face. No way. Why did Miho have to die? Young Miho saw him like that and spoke up. Don't be so gloomy. After all of us will meet in the demon realm in a few decades. Anyway. trying to accept it. So it's officially confirmed that I'm going to the demon realm. Seeing him sad, he turned and said, humans truly have vivid imaginations. In a useless way, the demon realm is actually quite a fun place, right? She agreed. Yes, that's right. A voice like a threat. Our home is filled with the scent of blood and the sounds of screaming. Her behavior made Lim Seon more and more terrified. Please stop. Young Mi-ho looked at Lim Seon and instructed, you have a long way to go before that time comes. Don't worry, just treat me as you did before, and don't reveal this to anyone anywhere.
Terrified, Lim Seon replied.
Yes, Young Mi-ho also started to move, but hey, my whole body is aching again. I'm leaving, Shit's voice echoed. Let's go together, Lord Lavis. Young Mi-ho was now completely exhausted. My head hurts so much. Did I use too much of the Blood Demon Stone's power?
Suddenly, Young Mi-ha excitedly ugedim.
Cake appeared. Brother, happy birthday. Young Mi-ho, you still didn't know today was your birthday? Birthday?
Young Mi-ha smiled with delight.
Mom and I worked hard to make this cake since yesterday. I can't guarantee how it tastes though. Placing a birthday hat on his head, she said, Mom and Dad will be home soon. She held up a camera and said, alright, let's start with a birthday selfie. Young Mi-ho, what's that on your face? She laughed and said, explaining it away. Some guys were bullying an old lady pushing a cart, so I stepped in to intervene. It's nothing. I did something unnecessary. He pondered deeply. Helping others when you aren't even strong yourself. Strange. She scooped a spoonful of cake and held it in front of him. Anyway, you must be hungry. Here, eat. He took a bite of the cake as if he were tasting the finest delicacy. What is this? Soft, white, and sweet. What is this flavor? While they were happy, Young Tae-shik barged in aggressively. Damn it, walking angrily to find the bastards who threw eggs. Where do I live? I'll kill them all. The followers replied, yes, sir. He was furious. Losing control of himself, he punched his follower. It would be better to kill you first. Can you not even prevent something like this? Seeing this, she tried to stop him. Dear, please stop. He brushed her hand away and shouted, let go. Young Mi-ha saw the emergency and rushed in to intervene. Please stop. Mom didn't do anything wrong. And he shouted loudly. What? Glancing at the cake, Young Tae-shik spoke in a low voice. What the hell is this? Your father gets eggs thrown at him during the campaign, and you're sitting here eating cake? He pushed her and cursed. I don't know what kind of person you are to not feel any outrage. He swept the cake aside. If I were your biological father, would this stuff even go down your throat? Seeing that, she stepped in to advise him. Dear, please. Today is Mi-ho's birthday, but he was resentful. A birthday at a time like this? With frustrated steps, he turned sharply toward the door. What a suffocating family. At this moment, Young Mi-ho had also become enraged. My cake. How dare you touch my things? She collapsed and hugged Young Mi-ha, sobbing bitterly. Mom is sorry, children. I'm sorry. She also comforted her. No, Mom. You didn't do anything wrong. Young Mi-ho's eyes were cold as he thought about Young Tae-shik. That guy is truly a super arrogant mortal. In the office where Young Tae-shik was having a fit of rage, that bastard VKP Yongmu, he didn't even bother to send money and cut off all contact. I don't know what corner he's hiding in. He gritted his teeth. If we want even a single photo with Assemblyman Park, we need to bribe him first. VKP Yongmu, that damn bastard. The henchman also replied, I will do my best to find VKP Yongmu, sir. Hand clenched into a fist. So frustrating that we have to grovel before a bastard like that just to increase the approval rating. And every single one of those. This trash is all acting like trash. A henchman ran in hurriedly from the door. Sir, a video of Mi-ha is spreading rapidly on the internet. He said urgently. What video? Then he handed the video to him. Please watch this, sir. In the video, Young Mi-ha held the camera recording. These bullies, you people, I've recorded everything. Stop it, the bully shouted. Hey, you crazy girl, who do you think you are to interfere? She snapped. Why are you people bullying an old lady? These bastards. He grew angry. This bitch. Then the voices of people nearby rose. Hey, stop it, let's go. Damn it, what are you looking at? I said let's go, you dog. Young Mi-ha then approached the old lady to check on her. Are you alright, ma'am? The old lady said gratefully, oh thank you, little girl. Young Tae-shik, seeing this, asked about it. Did something like this happen to Miha? His henchman replied, yes sir. If we reveal that Miha is your daughter, it will greatly help the approval ratings. The comments are exploding. He was like a fish in water, his voice full of delight. Really? Looking at the video, he thought to himself, this could truly create a good image. Those words caused Young Miha to go silent instinctively. But the conflict before her eyes still happened when Young Tae-shik suddenly slapped his wife hard and scolded. What, leaving? You ungrateful woman, how dare you forget my benevolence? Cause as much trouble as you like. But you cannot take Young Miho or Young Miha anywhere. Their names are in my family registry. Young Miho's mother was beaten until she trembled, before trying to find her voice to plead. Please just let us go. However, she only received his defiance and threats. Just try and see if you can survive without a single penny in your pocket. Young Mia, nearby, couldn't stand his cruelty, and screamed, grandfather gave those things to us. They don't belong to you, uncle. Young Tae-shik once again spoke in a mocking voice, just like your miserable mother, truly naive. Now, do you know what the real key to survival is? Once I have grabbed hold of something, it is mine forever. Remember it well, my daughter Miha. Her expression now darkened slightly, as she was forced to yield to the apathy of Young Tae-shik. Yes, this is my choice. Young Mia's eyebrows furrowed as she glanced at him and spoke up loudly. I will do it on one condition. If I earn money, let it be kept under my name. That is my condition. Young Miha's gaze was now more determined than ever, as she thought resolutely, I will save mom and brother from that monster. Suddenly Young Tae-shik burst out laughing and replied loudly, a condition, Mia? That is only natural. Your hard work belongs only to you. Han Yong-yu nearby also smirked slightly, before speaking up further. It's a deal then. Shall we sign the contract now? Chairman, please take care of Miha. She is more precious to me than my own life. As for the mother of Young Miha, she showed clear anxiety on her face, as she asked Miha, are you sure? But she was now very confident as she turned to her, and replied with a firm tone, yes mom, please trust me just this once. Thank you for worrying, brother. Young Mio, seeing that steadiness, was left instinctively, speechless. Moving to another scene, as a car sped through the night, Han Yong-yu wore a strangely crazed expression, while voicing her assessment. The more I look, the more I see she is perfect. My new vessel, her appearance, her gaze, even a rare purity not seen these days. I like everything about her. Sitting next to her, Han Yong let his sharp eyes drift as he interjected, with an observation, but that Young Miho guy, he seems off. Hearing those words, she looked up at the woman in front and asked, Hansu, what do you think? She didn't think much and calmly pointed out, Miha's older brother. I sense something special about him. Hansu's eyes narrowed slightly with boredom, as she continued, he's definitely not human. Han Yongyu's expression now flickered with a few streaks of interest, as she realized, if you say so, Yongmu might be a tracker from the demon realm. And while considering the situation, Han Yong suddenly tilted his head and eagerly interrupted. Do you want me to handle him, mother? But seeing that impatience, she simply declined. It's not time yet. Acting hastily could cause even greater trouble. Just observe for now. Miha is the top priority. As for him, hearing those words, he couldn't help but roar. That bastard's glare. I want to tear him to pieces. Han Yongju thought of Young Miha and gently reassured him. Be patient. The moonless night is coming. Once we perform the ritual and make Miha ours, you can do whatever you want with that Miho brat. He was now lying on her lap. She widened her eyes in delight and exclaimed, really? Promise? Of course. Her hands reached out to stroke Han Yang's forehead while replying, it's a gift from mother, I promise, my son. Suddenly Hansu's voice rang out, Mara. At that, she made Han Yongju's eyes widen, in shock. What, Mara? Hansu, never mention that name again. EOM Han Yongyu. No, I will be reborn as Young Miha. No, the Demon King, 12 black chairs? Nothing can stop me. This time I will not fail. Time skips ahead to the next morning. Young Miha stood before a towering building, her gaze fixed upon it with a strange determination, while she instinctively sighed and thought, I can do this. Having said that, she boldly strode forward. In another room, as a voice echoed out, everyone focus on her. introducing the newest member of our family, Mia. Han Yongju put her arm around Young Miha's shoulder, then continued her speech. You've probably all seen her on social media already. Miha will be the center for Noel's new group, Zara. At this moment, Haun, standing in the crowd, felt dissatisfied and spoke up. Chairman, isn't this decision a bit too sudden? I've been practicing for the center position all this time. She didn't dismiss that persistence but immediately praised her. Haun, you've done well. From now on, please support Miha as her partner. As soon as she finished, Han Yongju turned to leave, but didn't forget to remind them, work hard, Miha. She politely replied, yes. The door to the room closed, with a soft click. On the other hand, with those two girls, Haun began to get agitated and argue with Young Miha. Have your daddy backing you up? Huh? What? The daughter of a mayoral candidate? Must be nice relying on connections. You stole the center position that I've bled for over the past 4 years? Didn't you say when joining that if you weren't the center you wouldn't sign the contract? Noticing that angry expression caused her to instinctively become tense and stammer. No. Without waiting for her to finish the sentence, she swung her hand and slapped Young Miha right in the face. No, my ass. Haun's face contorted dramatically as she growled, threatened, let's see just how far that backing of yours can take you. While she only glanced at her without being able to say a word, her hand was placed near her cheek, where the wound had just been formed by that blow from Haun. While Han Yongju had moved to another room, she slowly stepped inside, just in time to catch her son Han Yang, excitedly shouting, this is awesome, mother's gonna go crazy. Finally, he noticed Han Yongju, and turned to her, mother, look at this. That made her curious, asking, what is it?
Han
Yang pointed at the screen, before hurriedly answering that.
I un scratch de minha face.
Blood. Look, blood. Inside the reflected image, there was now a moment of silence, where no one said a word. But on this side, Han Yongju gritted her teeth and muttered, that insect who is worse than trash. Her face clearly showed her rage, to the point where veins were popping, while she growled, how dare she scar my precious vessel. Moving to another scene as conversations echoed through the air. So Miha is about to debut? That's a big deal. She's really famous, isn't she? That girl could rule the human world if she does well. Lim Asin looked at the girl in front of him and spoke. Shit, you know a lot, don't you? And she confidently spoke up after a long laugh, saying, I've lived in the human world for 200 years. Didn't you know? On the other hand, Young Miho nearby only crossed his arms over his chest, with half-closed eyes and slowly spoke up. If that is my little sister's wish, then it has nothing to do with me, but that chairwoman and her children make me feel uneasy. There is no demonic energy, yet they didn't flinch at all under my glare. Could be demons hiding themselves in the human world. Shit temporarily switched to serious mode and slowly pointed out the problem. Demons who have been in the human world for a long time can hide their demonic energy as easily as turning over a hand. It's better to be careful even for Lavis. Don't shoot energy randomly from Miho's body. Even he had to calmly agree with this matter. That's right, Miho. No one likes that sinister glare of yours. Hearing that, he narrowed his eyes slightly and furrowed his brow, but kept a steady tone as he continued. Regardless, they are very suspicious. Even if there's no demonic energy, I would still recognize a devil. On the contrary, Lim Esayan wasn't paying much attention and turned away, whispering mockingly, even though you couldn't even find Baka. Those words made Young Miho's blood boil as he pointed at him, then grumbled, drag this brat back to the demon realm immediately and throw him into a hellish training camp, making her so excited she almost jumped up and replied, understood, sir, while he shouted out loud, stop threatening me. I know not just anyone who wants to go can actually go. He still couldn't let go of his anger, and thought to himself, not knowing how to use the demon realm's bloodstone properly, so even a dog looks down on me. Shit, have you found a way to regain the bloodstone's power? She narrowed both eyes and eagerly replied, yes, as ordered. I have found a way to restore Lavis's demonic power. Young Miho heard that and crossed his arms in satisfaction, boldly exclaiming, good, I will reclaim my strength. You go and scout. Yongju and those twins along with servant number 1 Shit didn't hesitate and immediately replied, understood. While Lim Isian was stunned and thought, great, me, a servant? Moving to another scene. As a figure moved slowly under the night sky, Haun walked while wiping away her tears, while her mouth wouldn't stop complaining. This can't be happening. After 4 years of preparation, suddenly, a metallic clanging sound from a long blade rang out. It stood tall and imposing behind her, making her startle and turn around to ask, who's there? Before her eyes was none other than Hansu, still wearing a calm expression, with a sharp blade in each hand. The sight made Ha-un tremble in fear the moment she saw it. Sister, what's wrong? Did I do something wrong? Wait, if it's about me, I'm sorry. I just lost my cool for a moment. While she was still pleading with tear-filled eyes, they suddenly widened in an instant. Without a word, Hansu swung the blade toward her. Streams of red blood sprayed out like rain, staining the surrounding walls. Having finished the task, she still showed no regret, only, muttering, why did you slap her in the face? Then she simply turned away decisively, ignoring the half-severed head, and said, Mother hates that the most. As two figures were strolling through the quiet night, the sound of lively conversation rose from both of them. Yongyu, don't stay out so late. Mother worries about you so much. Your father bought chicken for the 2 little ones and is on his way home. I couldn't just sit still and wait at home. You're so adorable. Are you sure this is really what the kids want, or is my dear wife just having a craving? But contrary to that joy, a shaggy monster appeared behind them, looking extremely savage. Moving to another scene. At a towering luxury apartment complex, Han Yong-ju, who was deep in sleep, suddenly stirred and made a strange sound. Gradually waking up, as her eyes slowly flickered open, she saw the monster from before, hovering over her, muttering, I really like this body, making her panic and cry out, who are you? However, the monster did not answer. He immediately attacked Han Yongju, making her cough while he growled, shut up, I will crush every single one of you humans. Don't worry about the children. I will raise them very carefully. You see, I happen to need a child. And even though her body was being taken over, a mother's instinct still tried to scream through words, choked with sobs, no, my children. No. But that monster did not hesitate at all, and continued to crawl into the mouth of Han Yongyu. Before long, he had completely slipped into her oral cavity. In an instant, he had seized her body, and burst into a crazed laugh. At this moment, Han Yongju's husband, beside her, finally woke up, asking in a sleepy voice, what was the noise, honey? No. Immediately, he noticed something was wrong and cried out in confusion, honey? And then, the window of their apartment suddenly slammed shut. Within a split second, he was grabbed by the neck by Han Yongju, causing him extreme panic. Honey, what are you doing? On the contrary, she spoke up skeptically, are you really the husband? You look so inferior. How could I live with someone like this? Han Yongyu's husband now seemed to fully realize the situation, and cried out in shock, you, who on earth are you? But she just indifferently flung her hand to release his neck and said, why do you care? The reality was that he was now free-falling from the height of the apartment building. No, Yongyu. The sound of bones shattering echoed as fresh blood splattered everywhere. The monster occupying Han Yongju's body showed no remorse whatsoever at this moment, but only reached out to cradle the pregnant belly. The face immediately became crazed, as it asserted, this body belongs to me now. The scene shifts to another room, as a roar of pain rings out. Han Yongju, on the hospital bed, was thrashing violently in agony. Damn it, it hurts so much. The doctors were worried and tried to calm her down. What are you people doing? Please calm down, ma'am. However, she refused to listen and screamed in a fit of rage. Shut up. Get these filthy things out of me right now. Get them out before I kill every last one of you. This is all that bitch Ineas's fault. Sometime later, after the birth was finished, looking at the result, the doctor was plunged into extreme confusion. What is happening? The children, the 2 newborns, had already opened their eyes, and they were red and black, leaving them in shock. This is impossible. Time slowly moves forward to the night. Han Yongju had a slimmer body after giving birth, but she wouldn't stop criticizing it. My body feels so sluggish. It must be because I just gave birth. Look at this disgusting belly fat. When is it ever going to disappear? Meanwhile, the two children were still looking up at her, uttering hesitant calls. Ma, but she only used her foot to kick him and grumbled, if you've taken your mother's demonic power, you'd better pay me back for it. How long do you plan on moping around like this? Grow up fast and protect me, until I find a vessel that can fully contain my vengeful soul. The scene opens to another page, with a more vibrant atmosphere, yet standing amidst the gossip of countless people. I know she's in shock because her husband kicked the bucket, but isn't this still a bit much? There's a limit to sympathy. She's no longer the Youngju we used to know. And what about the children? She doesn't even let anyone see their faces. I heard she's hardly ever at home anymore. She used to be so happy, finally getting pregnant after so much trouble. However, Han Young-ju didn't care about the whispers, focusing only on the man in front of her. You said you work at the TV station, right? Then you must know. A lot of beautiful and handsome children. Those words made him instinctively confused, responding with a soft, hesitant hum. Then he slowly began to speak. Well then, but before he could finish his sentence, his head slumped onto her shoulder. Having just finished him off, she gave a cunning smile and thought, there is no shortage of young and beautiful things, even in this living hell. I will make every single one of them mine. Han Yongyu remembered her image and firmly asserted, one day, I will kill you with my own hands. Back to the present as Han Youngju used fake tears to report. Inspector Haun was a girl destined to be the center of the upcoming group. She was more talented and promising than anyone. The inspector opposite her spoke up softly to ask, did the victim have any conflicts with colleagues? Or perhaps she was being stalked by someone? Hearing that made her cough and reply hesitantly, about that. Noticing this, the inspector asked curiously, are you alright, Madam Chairwoman?
However, Han Yongyu
Only hesitated and made gagging sounds.
Just Han
Yong, standing behind her, spoke up softly, to interrupt their conversation. Inspector, I think it's best we stop here for today. The chairwoman treats that girl like her own daughter. Seeing this, Hansu beside her also added, why don't you go meet the other trainees first? Hearing that, the inspector didn't investigate any further and slowly stood up. Yes, I understand. Then, please excuse us. Let's go, Inspector Seo. Yes. Even as she walked away, she didn't forget to glance back at them. Then, the sound of the door closing echoed behind them. Han Yongju truly seemed unwell at this moment as she stiffened. Immediately after, she vomited a pile of garish green liquid. Beneath it, maggots were still writhing and moving. She looked at that pile of liquid and the recent events, becoming annoyed and shouting loudly, that damn inspector, snooping around everywhere like they're hunting rats. Do you have any idea how much money I've given those people? What the hell are their superiors doing? Seeing this, Han Yong bowed slightly and spoke softly to reassure his mother. He will stop eventually. On the contrary, those words didn't help at all. They only fueled her rage further. My body is rotting away. I'm dying slowly because I'm losing my patience. How dare that Ha-un girl leave a scar on my vessel? Yet he didn't hesitate to embrace her rotting body, while advising her, Mother, are you worried? I will have Young Miha's body ready for you soon, so don't be too stressed, alright? After that statement, Han Yongju seemed to realize something and spoke up, right?
Suya, start quickly.
Then the room echoed with words full of calculation. I'm sure you've all heard the news about Haun. Some crazy bastard, or perhaps some crazy bitch. This world has too many psychopaths to attack a high school girl in broad daylight. I am worried about your safety, and to stabilize this uneasy atmosphere, we will begin dormitory life starting tomorrow. So please prepare and come to work. Youngmya stood opposite them and after listening slowly raised a question. The dormitory, is that absolutely necessary? Han Yong noticed her hesitation and tilted his head to point out, is there a reason why you can't? Don't you know idle dorms are a mandatory rule? Become one with my body. Those words made her anxious as she thought, but if I'm not at home, my mom and brother and Han Su standing nearby seemed to lack patience and cut in. You really have a lot of demands. If you really can't do it, she was about to act immediately, but he turned to calm her down. Calm down. Yonggil, what are you planning to do? The moment you leave even a scratch on her face, Mother will kill you. Miha, you understand, right? Yong, he really cared about Haun. She's extremely sensitive right now, so don't make this scary older sister angry, and just do as you're told, okay? The chairwoman will explain everything to your parents, so pack your bags and meet here tomorrow. Understood? The two girls standing next to Young Mi-ha, at that moment, despite their worry, still replied yes. As for her, she still didn't say a word, only looking down with a mess of thoughts in her head. Living in a dormitory? I'm already feeling anxious, because even my brother has been changing lately. Moving to another area under the night sky, Young-mi Ho watched Lim Sen struggle to lift a few kilogram weight, and thought dejectedly with criticism, "You call that training? My nodes are gradually becoming stronger. I can suppress humans using demonic power, but if I encounter a demonic beast in this state, it will still be a difficult battle. That bastard Banbi, if he intends to use me, at least, he should teach me how to control the blood demon stone." Not long ago from Banbi, as he was lying face down on the bed, slowly swinging his legs, I should include the way to control the blood demon stone. In the letter, to my dear friend Lavis, since you are still very weak, I will give you two gifts. First, the method to control the blood demon stone. Originally, the blood demon stone was used to suppress the demonic power of prisoners. That's right, the blood demon stone contains demonic power that was sealed within your remaining soul. I modified yours to directly link the demonic power within the vengeful soul to your human body. That power will only be fully released once the blood demon stone is broken. Must my eye be smashed for it to open? And the second gift, I have sent that child to you. I'm sorry, I love you, and I entrust them to your care, my friend. Banbi held up the letter he had just written, his eyes full of satisfaction as he thought, it's done. Now I just need to deliver this letter to Lavis. Read it carefully and reclaim your power, Lavis. However, Young Mi-ho irritably tore it into tiny pieces. That bastard, does he plan to use me as he pleases? I'll tear him to shreds, before he can even get close. That damn Banbi, he didn't read it. Could it be that the method was written in that letter? Suddenly at this moment, a shit in cat form came running in a hurry. Master Lavis, something terrible has happened. Seeing such a strange sight for a cat,
Left Lim Sen confused.
just running on two legs, while he only calmly asked, "What is it now?" She looked up at him and urgently reported the situation regarding Han, Yongju and the twins he asked about. What about them? What is Mara?
Det woman, Han Yongju.
She is Mara. He was standing to the side, and hearing that name, he became confused and asked, "Mara? Who is that?" The greedy witch, one of the 12 black chairs. It seems Mara Valias has taken over a human body and is living here. Hearing that,
Jung mio gave us light, amuzed zmirk.
he turned his gaze over, his mouth letting out wordless sounds, opening to a scene, bustling with the sounds of laughter and lively conversation at the same time. A crowd of people gathered to praise Lady Ineas. You are truly the most beautiful god of the demon realm. Noble elegance is still evident even when you are silent. How can someone be so beautiful? She wasn't humble at all, but instead spoke arrogantly. To have beautiful lips, first you must learn to keep the truth in your heart. That caused another noblewoman's face to light up with admiration. Truly a person of quality. Every word you say is like a piece of poetry. It's because you speak the truth that you are always beautiful. Not just her, but others nearby all clicked their tongues in approval, with endless praise. I just had my daughter study the art of rhetoric, hoping it will be of help to Lady Ineas someday. I want to teach her that words can be as sharp as a knife, just like one's virtue. Ineas, hearing that, didn't hesitate to reach out her hand and kindly spoke, I understand. Then I shall bestow a blessing upon this young lady, the blessing of silver eloquence. Hearing that, they cried out with joy, not forgetting to offer their thanks. Thank you very much, Lady Ineas. At this time Maravalias, from a distance, grew jealous and spoke up mockingly. What nonsense! The person next to her heard this and spoke gently, to calm her down. Lady Valias, you look very splendid as well. However, she only glanced at her, gave a contemptuous smirk, and said indifferently, thanks. I shall also bestow a blessing upon your daughter. May she drown in a sea of lust, and die in excruciating pain. Those words made the woman cover her mouth, and let out a gag of pure disgust. Maravelias turned her gaze back toward Ineas, screaming internally with jealousy. Just you wait, I won't let this go. Back to the present as Shit continued to report with an extremely serious expression. Lady Maravelias was resentful toward Lady Ineas. Meanwhile, Young Mio, after hearing the whole story, simply crossed his arms and gave his assessment. According to Mother, she's been like that since she was a child. Of course, she didn't care. As soon as she was promoted to the 12 black chairs, she was caught stealing from the well of demon souls, so she fled to the human realm and turned it into a living hell. Who still didn't quite know the full story, interjected curiously, but why would a witch approach Miha? Do you think she knows about Lavis? He didn't look back at him, only replying pensively, probably not. If she knew, things wouldn't have been this quiet for so long. In any case, at this point I can't fight her, and those two aren't normal either. Shit, in the form of a cat, suddenly put both hands on its hips and spoke boldly. Then we must increase the energy of the blood demon stone. I will go prepare immediately. Her eyes suddenly became strangely sinister as she laid out the plan. Step 1. Stir up the neighbors. The scene shifts to the bustling atmosphere of a supermarket. Young Miha and her mother were shopping together, but her mother couldn't stop advising Miha. Even now, if you want to quit, just say the word. Since you started working, so many bad things have happened. I'm so worried. Noticing that anxiety, she spoke up gently, so her mother wouldn't fret anymore. It's okay. The manager said the culprit will be caught soon. Clearly, he killed people at random. Young Miha's mother's eyebrows now furrowed deeply as she continued. You've always dreamed of becoming a veterinarian, haven't you? Just then, they passed by an item that caught both of their attention. And it couldn't have been more coincidental. As they walked through the pet food section, this sent Young Miha into deep thought. To make that dream come true, it would take a lot of time. I want to free Mom from that hell as soon as possible, with my own strength. Suddenly she gripped the shopping cart tightly, then turned to her mother with a cheerful face. Mom, an opportunity like this isn't easy to find. Dreams often change, you know. I'll get famous quickly and make heaps of money. On the contrary, her mother still spoke up, feeling uneasy. But if you live in a dormitory, I won't be able to see you much anymore. Young Mia still replied confidently. Don't worry about me or even him. When the election is over, everything will settle down. But the more confident she became, the more that mother felt like she was a burden. Her face darkened significantly as she lowered her voice. I'm sorry, Mia. You wouldn't have lost your motivation if I hadn't remarried. She immediately noticed her mother's self-deprecation and gently placed a hand on her shoulder. Mom, don't say that. You're still young, and raising both me and brother was hard. Dad's death wasn't your fault. And before you two got married, he treated us quite well. Mom, we were just deceived. The mother's eyes narrowed slightly. Seeing that determination left her instinctively speechless. Mia and Young Miha remained firm in her decision and said certainly, Mom, just wait a little longer. I will work hard. Moving to an amusement park, as a shout echoed through the air. On the other side, a group of people were experiencing the sensation of the dramatic roller coaster ride and screamed out loud. Young Mio looked up at them from below and spoke with a mocking tone, full of confusion. Pathetic humans. What's so scary about that? Standing nearby, saw him like that and offered an assessment. Miho, you're a demon, yet you vomited everything up, huh? Hearing that, he suddenly became agitated and retorted. I only felt nauseous because I ate some spoiled food. Those words made him grumble slightly again. Look at what you're saying. I told you that you shouldn't have ridden it. While Young Miho narrowed his eyes in annoyance, resolutely reminding himself internally that he would never ever ride it again. Then they moved to another attraction area, with an entrance gate that looked extremely spooky. Young Mio calmly asked, Is shit here? She immediately replied decisively, Yes, Lord Lavis. Surely the demon, imprisoned in the human world recently, has escaped surveillance, but I have tracked him down with my keen instincts. He heard that and showed a look of curiosity, then turned his face and raised his question. What is his name? Its image appeared in a bizarre way, as she explained, he can turn the screams of humanity into a source of demonic power. He converts the sound waves of fear into energy from the demon realm and feeds himself. So bringing someone who screams loudly here will work.
Suddenly Young Mi.
Ho whipped around to look at Lim Eseon and stated his value. Really? Finally, you're actually useful. As for him, in his surprise, his mouth moved faster than his brain. Me? I'm a strong man. I don't even know what fear is. I haven't screamed once since I was a kid. Once he finished saying those words, he was dragged away without hesitation into the attraction, making Lim Eseon cry out in terror. Wait, meanwhile, Shit, with that serious face, confidently took charge. I will guard the exit. You two be careful. The moment they stepped inside, they were greeted by creepy, ghostly faces. But Young Mi-ho only exclaimed indifferently, why are humans afraid of these things? It's just decoration. On the contrary, he cringed and huddled close to him. Maybe it's like what she said. I feel very strange. There's something here. He looked over at his trembling figure and slowly spoke up to remind him. That's exactly what we came here to catch. Stop trembling. But the confidence didn't last long. Before a head darted past right in front of them, making both of them jump and let out a blood-curdling scream. Both trembled with wide eyes at that head, nearly clinging to each other. At this moment, Lim Eseon suddenly paused as he realized something. You just cursed, didn't you? Were you startled too? However, Young Mi-ho had a sky-high ego and barked, shut up, I was just pretending to see how the enemy would react. Then he also realized something and asked, that was your first scream, wasn't it? Making him reply hesitantly, I guess so. Elsewhere, as a pair of blue eyes were glowing brightly, staring intently at them, while they remained unaware, walking and talking. Are you sure this is the fastest way? Every time the blood demon stone reacts to an evil human, a bit of its power is released. So if it reacts even more strongly to a demon, the blood demon stone will get even stronger. They were still discussing when a monster suddenly rushed in, assessing. Your scream just now was sweet, clear as crimson blood, as pure as a baby's first cry, making Lim Eseon cry out in shock. What is that thing? Scream suddenly swung his large hand, rushing toward the two of them. As he continued, your screams are delicious. Scream for me. Seeing the sharp claws about to reach him, made him so terrified he trembled violently. Scream for me. This is a demon, isn't it? Just as it was about to reach him, another small hand suddenly placed itself on it. Young Mi-ho looked at it with a stern expression. As he slowly spoke up, don't touch him, he is my servant. Scream's blue eyes, then darted toward him before assessing. Who are you? You're not human. Suddenly, Young Mi-ho's expression changed significantly, his eyes turning a bewitching glowing red as he slowly greeted Scream. I wonder if I can hear a scream from your mouth?
Young Mi-ho looked coldly, flashing a malicious smile.
Then Scream attacked him. What do you think you can do? Mi-ho
Lim Eseon
was blown away by the massive surge of power, shouting his name. Seeing this, it provoked him triumphantly. Yes, yes, keep screaming like that in this awkward situation. He gritted his teeth, his eyes full of resentment. Right now, I can only use my left hand. He ran toward the monster. Seeing him run, Scream followed with a smirk. Where do you think you're going? Then it moved. A massive wave of power attacked him directly. Struck by the terrifying force, he fell to the ground. Seeing this, Lim Eseon shouted, Stop! Be careful, Mi-ho! Lim Eseon was now too terrified, which made it even more gleeful. More! Scream louder, Young Mi-ho felt a burning rage. As he could only stay there and scream, he barked, Shut your damn mouth, you chatterbox. You've only been making it stronger this whole time. Lim Eseon, anxious and afraid, covered his mouth. Sorry. It enjoyed the scene unfolding, acting out, eyes filled with fear. It continued to create a wave of power to attack Young Mi-ho. The impact made the ground echo loudly. I'll turn them into earphones and wear them everywhere. Not letting it remain triumphant, Young Mi-ho fought back. He looked at it and said, Who? He leaped up right in front of it. His hand had already initiated the move. Who said I was afraid? Young Mi-ho launched an attack, but it dodged, speaking in a mocking tone. Looking at you flailing with those stupid hands. How cute, you're so cute. After the unsuccessful attack that left it unharmed, he reconsidered. Even when jumping, I'm still at a human level. With this body, I can't even defeat it. Then it grabbed him and lifted him into the air. Lim Seon below could only watch and call his name, Miho. He struggled to break free from the giant hand, but it wouldn't allow it, creating a surge of killing intent from its fingers. This is a sword forged from the fear of your friend. If I pry your eyes out with it, I wonder what kind of delicious scream you will let out. Regardless of the situation, Young-mi Ho maintained his will and shot back. To a low-level demon like you, I will not scream. It heard this and attacked him directly while he was in his grasp. Is that so? Let's see then. The power from its finger stabbed directly into his eye. Lim Seon saw this and froze up. No. After that attack, he was completely unharmed. Instead, he replied coldly, "What is this?" The eye that was attacked turned bright red. He gave a provocative smile. My vision has become clearer. Thinking back to before Ban B seemed to have created this. He had made some modifications to the blood demon stone, so that the amount of mana sealed within the vengeful soul would link to your body, but that power will not be fully unlocked until the blood demon stone is broken. With a cold, sharp gaze, he looked straight at it and struck. Bambi, you bastard, you hid the way to break it like this? I saw this and was utterly shocked.
Impossible.
How? My screaming sword couldn't gouge out a mortal's eye? As he moved to strike, he said, because I am not just a mortal. He shouted at Lim Seon like an order. Son, open your mouth and scream. Seeing this, he gaped and replied, won't that just make it stronger? He shot back, stop talking and just scream. Lim Seon started to second-guess but made a decision. Though I don't know what he's thinking, I guess I have to trust Miho. He took a breath and then screamed at the top of his lungs. It was as if the monster was being infused with more power. What delicious screams. Young Miho's seal was now also being broken. With this blood demon stone trait, the seal on my right leg has been shattered. Seeing Lim Seon scream made it even more joyful. You fool, you're increasing my strength. That arrogance will cost you dearly, not letting it rejoice any longer. Young Miho replied mockingly as if he'd found a weakness. It seems your movements slow down a bit when you're consuming a scream, don't they? Hearing this, it was caught off guard. What? Now was the time for Young Miho to launch his attack. Now, let's listen to your own scream.
Young Miho leaped up.
His gaze was like 1,000 cold, sharp blades. The surge of power he created was absolutely terrifying. And then he began to feel the thrill. Can feel it, as the shell of the blood demon stone breaks. He continued his relentless attack. If I keep absorbing the evil energy of demons, my strength will return much faster. And then it was as if he was being liberated, exactly as predicted. The power increased so much that a human ego couldn't possibly compare. As his strength grew piece by piece, he mused, now that the blood demon stone is unsealed, all I need to do is absorb evil energy until my true strength returns. Lim Seon nearby could only ask anxiously, watching that demon being absorbed by you, are you okay? Young Miho turned to look, sounding very triumphant. I'm fine. Let's go hunt more demons. Scene change. Young Miha crossed her arms and bowed to Hansu. Thank you for escorting me. She looked and only replied coldly, unpack your things and don't go anywhere until rehearsal. She responded timidly and cautiously, yes. Her willpower made her regain her confidence. Mom, brother. She clenched her fists and said, I can do this. She watched through the camera, hands looking like they wanted to crush Young Miha. Su. Mother is so excited. She spoke as if she were going mad. If Mother transfers into her, will you still listen to Mother? Han Yong also replied nonchalantly, of course. Mother, shall we proceed right away? Young Miho and Lim Seon quickly returned. Shit, who was waiting, suddenly felt a familiar surge of power approaching. She turned around in surprise. This blood power, could it be? Seeing him standing there unharmed, Shit quickly said, congratulations on recovering your demonic power, Lord Lavis, the blood lord of all living beings. She bowed, her expression extremely respectful. To accompany you anywhere Chris will become my master's shadow, and follow you to the ends of the earth.
Young Miho spoke coldly.
Don't be so formal. Give me the location of the next target and Mara's position. He glanced down from above, so that I can make a deal. with them as soon as I regain my strength. She looked up and replied with a very serious expression. Understood, master. In some place, a human was enjoying a cigarette. On his back was a purple demon, his whole body covered in holes with a bizarre shape. This demon's name is Apex Ion. It eats demonic power from human lungs. At this moment, Apex Ion was smiling and urging, more, more. Right then, a human hand suddenly appeared. Being grabbed by the head, its face went blank. Young Miho said in a deep voice, "Come with me." Apex Ion glanced back, its voice becoming stuttered. "What the hell are you doing?" He didn't answer, his left eye flashing once. It only had time to let out one scream before being absorbed. After swallowing the last bit,
Yung mio grimace di nanneyance.
"Damn it, the smell is awful." He turned around and said, "Next." Not long after, a demon clinging to a drunkard was caught. This demon's name is Astra, absorbing the memories of heavy drinkers. Astra. After finishing the absorption,
Yung mio spoke again in nanneyance.
"This one is disgusting too." Lim Messian poked his head out from behind a utility pole, trembling all over but still curious. "I didn't know so many demons existed in the human world. But why do they have to absorb power from humans? To survive?" Young Miho turned to look back, his left eye flashing a fiery red light that sent chills down the spine. Demons lose their magic power when they flee to the human world, after passing through the dividing wall. That is why each of them must find a substitute to survive, otherwise they will vanish. Seeing his eye, he became even more terrified. "I see. So demon possession probably isn't just superstition." Young Miho raised his hand, blood power enveloping his arm, his gaze somewhat pensive. "I think I have enough mana now, so shall I try?" Lim Zen gaped with wide eyes and cried out, "Miho, what is that?" He clenched his fist, and the blood power quickly condensed into a sword. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly as he explained, "I have restored it, my Damrako, even though this isn't its complete version yet." After Young Miho withdrew the blood power, he suddenly asked anxiously, "By the way, Miho, is it dangerous to send shit to scout alone?" He shook his head and replied, "Don't worry, her magic power is so small that they would have to look very closely to detect it." On a tree branch, Shit transformed into a bat, hanging upside down and observing something. Not long after, she cried out loudly, "I'm hungry. At this rate, I'll starve to death." Just as she finished, her eyes fixed on something, she spread her wings and dove down, her small hand catching a worm. "Got you." Until she looked closer, she startled once again and cried out, "Wait, what is this?" She held up the bizarre worm. After a moment of inspection, she concluded, "It emits Mara's demonic power." Thinking of this, she immediately flew straight into the sky. "I must report to Master." Meanwhile, at a parking garage somewhere, a white car moved slowly. A noisy sound echoed from inside. Han Yong hugged Young Miha and said excitedly, "Mother, I drugged her very cleanly. Don't you think I'm great?" In the front seat, Han Yongju turned around, with a sick smile on her face. "Very good." Receiving the praise, he happily gave an order, "Yong-a, move out, move out." At this time, Young Miha was still unconscious, unaware of what was happening. Over at Young Miho's place, Shit mumbled with the worm still in her mouth. After listening for a while without understanding a word, he scolded her, "Spit it out before you speak. I can't understand a thing." She transformed back into a human, spat the worm out of her mouth, and said urgently, "Lord Lavis, please look at this." Young Miho glanced at it, his face immediately contorted. "What is that thing? It reeks." Shit held out the worm and shook it. "This is definitely Mara's parasite. It seems Mara lost her true form when crossing the barrier, and has taken over a human identity."
Yung Miho's eyebrows furrowed,
his gaze becoming pensive. "The reason these parasites are appearing proves that Mara needs a new body. Mara's demonic soul cannot endure a human body for a long period of time." Lim Messian startled and stammered, "So that last rehearsal, was she targeting Miha's body?" He nodded silently. "It's very likely. Mara has always been obsessed with young and beautiful things." Saying this, Young Miho couldn't help but grit his teeth. "Even so, she's still older than my mother. That old hag is elegantly insane." After hearing him speak, Lim Saeun noticed something else. So how old is your mother? Young Mi-ho tilted his head back and answered calmly, if calculated by the years of the human realm, she is about 6,375 years old. He froze, his eyes wide with bewilderment. Then how old are you? He furrowed his brows as if trying to recall. How old am I exactly? When I was little, Uncle once let me observe the human realm. Remembering the pyramids, he continued, humans were building something. At that time, Bakan laughed loudly and said, do you see? This is the temple humans built to worship me. I am an entity that low-level gods, like you can never, compare to, you understand, nephew? After hearing him brag, Lavis bared his teeth and huffed coldly. What's there to be proud of? Banbi pushed up his glasses, and calmly countered, Lord Bakan, from my knowledge, the things humans are building are not for your worship. They are followers who worship the god Jia in the celestial realm. He gaped with wide eyes and asked, what? Why would they worship someone I defeated? He shrugged, how should I know? Bakan didn't dwell on it and pulled them both into an embrace. His voice was so loud it echoed through the heavens and earth. Anyway, I won, so it belongs to me. Back to the present, Lim Saeun was thinking about Young Mi-ho's age, and said with a trembling voice, I heard. The pyramids were built 4,000 years ago. This is way beyond what I imagined. After waiting a moment, Shit asked eagerly, what should we do? Lord Lavis's younger sister might be devoured by Mara. He remained silent for a long while, his face gradually turning cold. In his heart he thought, Miha. Near a building deep in the forest, Han Yongju was helped out of the car. She looked up at the starry sky and muttered, the night I was born, there wasn't a single star in the sky. After a moment, Han Yong spoke up and asked, Mother, this is the right place, isn't it? Han Yongju climbed up the stairs step by step. Struggling, she opened her mouth, right? The gap between the human realm and the demon realm, hidden from the sight of the celestial realm. Having said that, she suddenly stopped. Surprised, she asked, what? Before their eyes stood a lone demon, among corpses arranged in straight lines. As soon as he saw them, the demon bared his teeth and asked, who dares to intrude here?
Han Yongju glared,
I am Marabelia's, and this is my own territory. The demon was startled and asked back, what, Mara? After a moment of surprise, he regained his composure. Upon seeing her current state, you used to be one of the Black Thrones. Now you're just a fugitive who can't use mana properly, right? I've taken over this place, so get lost.
Han Yong ignoreerde Bauer.
He stepped forward and stomped on a corpse. What's this? Bauer quickly shouted. Hey, watch your feet. Han Yongju let out a sigh. Fine, right now I'm just a nobody. I've spent so much just to maintain this human identity. That's why I've prepared some things. My children, they will protect me. Bauer furrowed his brows, his voice full of contempt. Half demons, half humans. A mother using her children as shields. How pathetic. She felt no shame. On the contrary, she spoke out proudly. What are they to you anyway? I gave them life, so it is only natural for them to fulfill their duties as children. Now gather your pile of stinking weeds and get out. He felt insulted, teeth gritting. Needle grass, my sacred flower. Why does no one recognize its value? As Bauer rushed forward, Han Yong took action. He was still carrying Young Miha in his arms, but his legs showed no mercy, kicking Bauer directly in the face. Now calm down. Han Yongju praised with a smile. Well done, my son. Long ago, amidst the sounds of children gagging, the voice of a wicked woman rang out. What a waste of soul spring water. Do you kids have any idea how much I suffered just to steal this? Don't swallow? I said swallow it. Soul spring water, a stream located in Gehenna, the deepest valley in the demon realm, a place filled with the tears of the gods, who created the world. This divine water is essential, the core of all mana sources, the only elixir that can satisfy my greed.
Han Yongju gritted haar teeth.
Her hand squeezing the bottle of soul spring water until it deformed. Gemud Vindica hoarded the soul spring water, even though it didn't belong to him. That stingy bastard. I have no other choice. Even if I have to waste it, drink it all and protect me, until I find the hidden gem, tucked away within the human realm. On the trail leading to that abandoned building, Limousin panted and asked, are you sure they went this way? Shit, transformed into a cat, ran fast ahead, sniffing the air while replying, The rotting stench of Mara is getting clearer by the second. Finally, she looked up toward the abandoned building. Here, she's definitely in here. Lim Xian stopped to wipe his sweat and asked, there's an abandoned structure out here? Shit quickly turned back into a human, stuck a bandage over her nose, and said, my nose has been working overtime. Seeing that she wasn't providing any more info, he turned to the person beside him. Mio, you have to make sure you save Miha, okay? He was silent for a moment before saying, alright, let's go. Startled by his arm around his shoulder, Lim Xian cried out, me too? I'll just be a burden. Young Miho gave him a sharp glare. A burden? You make a high-quality meat shield, don't you? He gaped in terror and asked back, what, a meat shield? At that moment, Shit also hurriedly spoke, Lord Lavis, I pray for your victory over Mara. Good luck. Young Miho turned his head back with a cold gaze. You have to go too. We need to balance the numbers. She panicked and stammered, why me too? I knew there was no way to avoid this. Shit wouldn't stop trembling, wondering to herself, are fame and fortune really worth it? I really should have just stayed under Lord Banby. Inside the building, Young Miha was placed onto a magic circle. Han Yongju said with satisfaction, good, now hurry up. Bauer, who was arrogant at first, was now submissive after being restrained. Lady Mara of Greed, please spare me. You will definitely need me, if you plan to live in the human realm. Han Yong found it amusing, and said with a smile, Mother, should I keep him? I have some troublesome tasks to do lately. We can make him do the housework. Bauer quickly nodded in agreement. Right, give me any task, and I will complete it as fast as possible. At that exact moment, Young Miho's sarcastic voice suddenly rang out. Scum really does find a way to flock together, doesn't it? A coward who betrayed his entire clan, a thief who fled because of greed, and a pair of hybrid twins, the four of you, really make quite the rogue team. Han Yongju turned around, her eyes still wide. Who are you? Han Yong said with a look of surprise. Mia ese brother, beside Young Mio. Lim Xian looked around tremblingly. Are these all corpses? Is this for real? He looked up at a corpse hanging on the wall. VIP Ayangmu. I wondered where he had gone. Turns out he was here.
Lim Xian.
If I hadn't saved you, that would have been your end. So from now on, you'd better listen to me. Got it? His face turned pale as his whole body trembled uncontrollably. In his heart, he thought, how disgusting and terrifying. This really is the world of demons. Bauer looked up in surprise. You know VIP Ayangmu? You're the one who ruined my plan. Hearing this, Han Yongju narrowed her eyes. I knew he wasn't an ordinary person.
Han Yong smirked.
See, my judgment of people is spot on. Mother, do you know who he is? Before he could finish his sentence, Shit jumped out and did something no one asked for. This is Lord Lavis Vindica. He was exiled to the human realm for slaughtering the entire Bauer clan, the one and only crown prince of the Demon King.
Han Yongju gritted her teeth.
Her face flush with rage. What, Lavis Vindica? You're that criminal son of Ineas? Lavis Vindica, that bastard who killed my whole family. As she spoke, a thought suddenly flashed through her mind. Wait, this is my chance. He isn't that bloodthirsty butcher right now, just a prisoner trapped in a mortal body. I can avenge my clan with my own hands. At this point, Han Yongju raised her voice. Ineas, that interfering woman, that bitch. She even sent her son to the human realm, just to interfere with my life. Meanwhile, Young Miho was weighing his options internally. I can't fight all three of them at once. With my current strength, that Bauer guy might stab me in the back at any moment. I'll deal with him later. Then he spoke. Hey Bauer, get lost. He gaped and immediately cursed. Do you still think you're in the demon realm? I'll kill you with my own hands right now. Before he could finish his words, Jung Myo barked, shut your damn mouth. Get lost if you don't want to die here. Under the pressure of his blood power, Bauer was speechless, his face drenched in sweat. Jung Myo continued, and announced to the demons in the human realm, that I, Lavis, have descended to the human world. As the Blood Lord, tell them to stay put, if they don't want to die or be hunted by me. Bauer startled and asked, what? You can use mana in a human body? How is that possible? Damn it! He stood up and half crawled, half ran away. Feeling that the stairs were too slow, Bauer smashed directly through the window and jumped straight out. Only then did Young Miho turn and say, hey you old hag, if you want to be younger, then experience the bone-deep pain for yourself. Stop wandering around and stealing. other people's bodies like that.
Han Yong-yu asked angrily.
Old hag, you insolent brat, how dare you speak to a senior in that tone? Just as she finished, she coughed up several mouthfuls of blood. Han Yong saw this and advised his mother not to overexert herself.
Han Yong-yu bit her finger.
Fine, I'm very curious about the child Ineas cherishes like a treasure. I wonder what her expression will be like when she sees her son torn apart by mine. Young Miho smirked, his gaze gradually turning cold. I'm also curious what the expression of an old woman who has spent her life in envy and jealousy will be like if her children are killed by the very son of that woman. She raised her eyebrows and spoke loudly. Han Su, Han Yong, which of you two will go first to bring that brat's tongue back to mother? Han Yong summoned his weapon and replied with total confidence. Me, of course. Mother, please wait a moment. Han Su lowered her head in silence, her hands summoning a pair of dual swords. Both of them charged forward together. She said, Han Yong, get out of the way. He retorted loudly, to shut that brat up, my Venorin is more than enough. Both swung their weapons to attack simultaneously. Young Miho calmly stepped to the side. Han Su continued to sweep across with her dual swords. He also drew his sword to strike back. At that moment, Han Yong suddenly shouted, Han Su, move! Hey, you're getting in my way, she said in a low voice, shut up and support me from behind. Young Miho took a step back, thinking to himself, they have no teamwork, I'll exploit that. After thinking, he spoke up, at this rate, are you sure either of you can kill me before you fall apart? Han Yong, nearly hit by a sword sweep, reminded her angrily, watch it, you almost hit me. Young Miho backed away once more. He calmly analyzed them. They are blocking each other's every move.
Ansu is overly confident Guailan.
Yong is absolutely cautious. The perfect duo is crumbling. He raised his sword to parry a strike from Han Su. Her blade bounced back.
Coincidentally eating Han Yong's masa.
He gritted his teeth and said, again? Han Su also knit her brows in annoyance and clicked her tongue. Taking that opportunity, Young Miho swung his sword in a horizontal arc. The blade grazed her waist, causing a splash of syrup to fly. He thought again, even if they are hybrids, they are quite strong. What the hell did Mara do to them? Seeing his sister get hit, Han Yong suddenly burst out laughing. Serves you right, Han Yong, this guy is mine. The spiked mace shot out, striking Young Miho's right hand. Han Su took the chance to rush forward. I'll be the one to take his head. He switched his sword to his left hand, his calm gaze staring her down. Seeing that, Han Su couldn't help but be surprised. He dodged right at that moment. Now Han Yong also swung his spiked mace, chasing after Lavis. Careful not to die yet. You must die by my hand. After saying that, he swung the mace with force. At the same time, Han Su used her dual swords to slash downward. Young Miho quickly used his sword to block the attack. The weight forced him to his knees. Han Su gritted her teeth and said, die, just die. Young Miho quickly pushed her back. In his mind, he began to calculate again. I don't have enough mana to handle both of them. This plan is a bit cowardly, but I'll try provoking them and see. Then he spoke. Hey, your big sister is pretty strong, isn't she? Han Yong glared and shouted. What? Who's the big sister? I was born 18 minutes before her. I'm gonna kill you. Young Miho was stunned as he saw him charge in. Does it actually work? He immediately retreated, leisurely dodging the blow. Ansu so An Jones actions and scolded him angrily. You idiot! What the hell are you thinking charging in like that? He barked back in a rage. Shut up! I'll be the one to present this guy's corpse to mother first. Young Miho narrowed his eyes calculatingly. Good, he's attacking much more aggressively now. That also means he's within my strike zone. Not far away, Shit spoke while fighting. Mara, of the 12 Black Thrones, was someone I once respected. To think you've become so bizarre and unable to restrain your own greed is disappointing.
Han Yong-yu hated.
How dare you call me bizarre, you lowly beast. As she finished, Shit was struck by one of her tentacles. She thought to herself, now, Master Sun. Lim Seiyun took the opportunity to rush toward the magic circle. The moment he touched the protective barrier of the circle, he let out a cry. In his mind he thought, it's so hot. No, wait, it's freezing. Thinking this, Lim Seiyun pushed with all his might. He gritted his teeth and shouted out loud, Mia, open your eyes. Meanwhile, Shit was also attacking desperately. She thought, I'll hold her back for a while. Master Seiyun, hurry and save Miha. but the one who was counted on was blasted back by the protective barrier. Lim Asan held up both hands. His palms were burned blood red. The pain still surged through his nerves, making him feel insecure. He thought, I'm just a human. I can't do anything at all. Remembering the happy image of the three of them, Lim Asan was instantly buffed by the power of friendship. He gritted his teeth and thought, even so, I won't give up. Thinking this, Lim Asan raised his hands again. As he punched forward, he shouted, "Miha, no matter what, we will save you." The moment his fist hit the barrier was the same moment Shit was sent flying. Han Yongju said, "It's time to end this game, isn't it?" Shit gritted her teeth and stood up. Even with such a battered body, she is still that strong. I guess the 12 Black Thrones isn't just a title.
Han Yongju sueng her tentakles.
Firing out purple arrows one after another. What are you thinking? Did you think I'd be easy to take down just because of this decaying body? Shit was struck and sent flying backward. Pinned to the wall by an arrow, she opened her mouth and screamed. It hurts so much.
Han Yongju spoke again.
Watch closely and witness the end for these insects. Seeing her walk toward the magic circle, Shit cried out in panic. No, Master Esayan, run. Hearing her voice, he looked up. Immediately after, fresh blood splattered. Lim Asan writhed in pain on the cold floor. The witch Han Yongju stared at him, wearing a bizarre smile, and provoked him. I will use you as nutrients, along with that little girl, so just wait right there. He struggled to move, feeling overwhelmed by panic. My body won't move anymore. At this point, she began to cast a spell on Young Miha's body, speaking with excitement. I've wasted too much time on those brats. Then she screamed with satisfaction. I swear upon the blade that can split the soul, O moon of the vow, I willingly renounce this rotting vessel. Let the flames of greed burn through the bloodline, and open a new path. Tear open the gates of the heart and remake this life. At that moment, her eyes suddenly flashed with a wicked light as she shouted, "O darkness, hear me, my vow is complete." Then Young Miho began to notice and spoke up anxiously. No, a blood-red blade appeared out of nowhere, while his gaze simultaneously became unusually cold. After that, his sword-wielding hand powerfully swung directly at the people in front of him. With just one blade strike, it forced them to expend a great deal of strength. At this time, Han Yong shouted to stop them. Stop right now.
Batan Sustaverly screamed.
No way, I have to be the first one. Suddenly, his body was tightly bound by a magical rope. He was squeezed tightly by an invisible pulling force. His mouth, too, without knowing, since when, was sealed shut by large pieces of tape. That body was pulled forcefully into a corner of the room that no one noticed. There, Jean Jae-hai was quietly imprisoning him, and provoking him in a low voice. How dare you people bully our dear Lavis Appa like this? A large amount of mucus suddenly poured out from nowhere. It flowed out from the mouth of Mara Belias and flowed straight into Young Miha's mouth. Her body received all the mucus she poured out. Then she gave a slight hiccup, causing the liquid to surge up. Then it slowly flowed back down into her body, in a way that couldn't be more unusual. Unexpectedly, she woke up in a healthy state, and spoke cunningly. I finally have a perfect vessel. At the same time, her old body collapsed onto the floor. She raised her arms, admiring them while speaking. This fresh body, this feeling. Then she felt her body and spoke pervertedly. This is it, I will enjoy this beauty forever. Seeing that, Lim Asan shouted loudly. No, Shit also screamed in despair. Mia! Young Miho, who was fighting, also lost focus, causing Han Su to remind him, where do you think you're looking? He spoke out in frustration. Damn it, I arrived too late. At this moment, Jean Jae-hai looked at him with infatuation and exclaimed, Lavis Appa, those beautiful lips. Even Appa's new appearance is so charming. Then he directly used his own arm to block that knife strike. She hid behind the wall, trying to wake herself up. Snap out of it, belt he. Appa is in danger right now. Suddenly she felt shy and worried. But if I step in, Lavis Appa will see me. She screamed out in embarrassment. Just imagining it is so embarrassing. Even so, I can't just stand here admiring Appa forever. What should I do? Han Yong, lying there, was beyond shocked. Taking the opportunity, he tried to crawl out. Right at this moment, Han Su also laid eyes on him.
Anxiously, Han Yong.
Who did this to you? Right then, he quickly devised a plan. This is my chance. Then he struck Han-Su directly, making her scream out loud, "Mother!"
Dat idiotan Su.
Now Young Miha began to pay attention to them. Strange mucus suddenly appeared on her body. Han Yong-ju, hiding inside that body, spoke up, "Su, what are you doing down there?" Her arm quietly set him free. Immediately after, he shouted in frustration, "Where is that brat? Where did she suddenly come from?" She replied cunningly, "It seems we have a timid mouse, don't we?" Then he bragged proudly, "Mother, you're already finished? How do I look? Am I pretty?" He remarked, "Mother, you don't look like yourself at all." Seeing this, Lim Eseon whispered in disappointment. So she really did take over Miha's body. Is it really all over now? Shit, who was being imprisoned, also replied hastily, "Lord Lavis, there is still a chance. Miha's soul hasn't completely vanished yet." Hearing that, he gasped in shock. What? She struggled to continue. Tonight is a moonless night. On the night when the moon hides itself, the boundary between the human world and the demon world becomes blurred, contract magic, and even souls become most unstable. The sky darkened as she spoke. Until this night ends, Mara's ritual cannot be considered complete. Her old body still lay motionless there. As she shouted, the soul of Miha is definitely still in there. Suddenly, Miha's eyes became panicked. She struggled and called out for help. "Miho Appa, my body is moving on its own like this. Please save me." Hearing this, he lost focus in confusion. Is that Miha's soul? Suddenly, she began to laugh bizarrely. Mara Belias appeared, arrogantly provoking him. "How interesting. My voice sounds exactly like the real Miha, doesn't it?" Hearing that, he shouted in frustration, "You dare play games with me?" She arrogantly commanded Yong-A-Su, "I'm tired. Kill them all now." Upon hearing the order, he charged forward frantically and spoke excitedly, "Yes, Mother, we'll really finish them off for good now. Mother, please quickly find that timid mouse from earlier and kill it too." He also began to feel frustrated and swung his blade wildly, musing to himself, "Unbelievable. I can't even handle a few low-level descendants, and on top of that, I have to endure such humiliation." In another corner, she spoke out with satisfaction, "You've all waited long enough, haven't you? It's time for me to feast and grow my power." And seeing this, Shit's eyes welled up with a sense of injustice. She provocatively asked, "Now who should I enjoy first?" Lim Eseon's eyes also flashed with a rare look of terror. Suddenly, a strange ball dropped right at her feet, causing her to speak out in surprise. "What is this?" She stared intently at that sphere. To her surprise, a mini doll popped out. It directed a sharp, cold gaze at her body. This caused her to startle in sheer terror. Seeing this, he also spoke out in amazement. That is, as thick, murky smoke began to envelop the room. Mara Belias covered her nose and grumbled, "What is this? What's this foul stench?" Suddenly, a figure came rushing in from nowhere. It was Jean Jae-hai. She rushed over to Shit and pulled out 2 iron bars. Afterward, she attached 2 large mechanical hands to her arms, causing her to exclaim in surprise, "That is that." She quickly finished while she was still in a daze. Then she turned away abruptly and commanded coldly, "Use this." She asked hesitantly, Are you Jean Jae-hai?" At this moment, Lim Eseon was still imprisoned by the flow of mucus. She approached, pulling him up, while whispering, "Human, use this to help him." He was also so surprised that he stammered, "You are." Then she vanished, leaving a gun floating in midair. Shit looked at the 2 hands, constantly exclaiming in admiration, "This is a weapon reinforced with demon realm power, isn't it? How did Jean Jae-hai get something like this?" He was equally surprised. "What is this? Why did Jean Jae-hai give me this thing?" His hands kept examining the gun she had just handed over. Suddenly, he shouted out loud, as a pink smoke enveloped the room. His head moved uncontrollably, causing him great pain. "My head feels so strange, and my heart is racing wildly." Suddenly, his pupils contracted, his mind still submerged in a mess of chaos. His head was spinning, and he seemed unable to breathe anymore. Meanwhile, she was surrounded by toxic gas, shouting defiantly, "Where did you get that pile of scrap metal? Do you think I don't know what kind of cheap tricks you're playing?" Shit lunged out of nowhere, grabbing her with those sharp mechanical hands, but she counterattacked quickly. She barked in frustration, secretly placing a toy in there? "Do you really think it will change anything?" She resisted strongly. A toy? You'll only know if you try. She screamed fiercely. The result is already clear. You're just a lowly beast who was cast away. She aggressively retorted, compared to someone who threw themselves away. Just because of bottomless greed like you, that means nothing. Suddenly, a foot stepped forward from somewhere. She began to display her bizarre, cunning ways, saying, "So it's not just an ordinary little toy then?" And then she held out that grotesque arm while shouting, "Whatever, I'll devour all of you just the same." She looked at those tentacles with worry. The tentacles are getting thicker and thicker. I can't cut them all off. At this point, she also began to seize the opportunity to plot and scheme. Mara is starting to adapt to her new body. The more time we waste, the more disadvantageous the situation becomes. She became increasingly freakish and arrogant, threatening. I wonder, the taste of a fresh demon realm beast, struggling for its life. Will it be delicious? Hearing that, she grew more and more anxious. A cord connected to her belly caught her attention. Is the umbilical cord connected to Yongyu? When she was about to be backed into a corner, she reached a conclusion. That's it. Miha is just an ordinary human. Her original body lies there exposed, making her realize she cannot absorb all of Mara's power at once. Meanwhile, she was continuously attacking her, but she managed to deduce in time. We must cut the umbilical cord connected to the corpse of Yongyu. Somehow I have to break the magic circle. There, in a corner, Lim Seiyun had stabilized himself. Be calm. Realizing his breathing was returning to normal, he held the gun and thought to himself, now what am I supposed to do with this thing? Suddenly he noticed the body of Mara, Belia's, which was being protected by the magic circle. He quickly glanced over at her. While watching her fight, he wondered, the tentacles are connected to Yongju's corpse, aren't they? He spaced out, thinking, in that case, the transfer process into Miha isn't over yet. That magic circle helped him realize, the magic circle is there to protect the original body, until the transfer process is completely finished. Knowing that, he became even more determined. There's still time. If I can destroy that magic circle. His eyes suddenly lit up unusually bright. He stood rooted to the spot when he discovered something. I can see the structure of the magic circle. Is it ultimately just geometry? He raised his hand in the air, touching something to calculate. Geometry is made from shapes, and shapes can be turned into formulas. A magic circle is nothing more than a structure calculated by numbers. But as his hand moved, he reached a conclusion. The circle. This is maintaining the connection between Yongju's corpse and Miha. I need to solve the formulas and find the weak point. His hands suddenly moved fast, writing out strange mathematical formulas. He calculated frantically, using his brain's full capacity to analyzing the magic barrier. The core is a cubic polynomial, with magic flow following an S-curve. The nucleus of the sealing spell lies at the extreme values. Then the derivative. Seeing this, Shit struggling in battle was also amazed. Is this a magic formula? Is Seiyun actually decoding the magic circle? Right now, she endured the power of the hands while thinking, thanks to the weapon gene Jihai gave him, Seiyun can interpret magic? Meanwhile, she was still lost in pleasure, constantly screaming, "Come here, you little mouse." She began to regain her will to live. Anyway, while Seiyun is decoding the magic circle, I must try to stall for as much time as possible. At this point, his hands continued to solve difficult math problems, gradually reaching the end, converting the magic circle structure into matrix form. The main diagonal, the mana vector, is a symmetric matrix. Then he let out a satisfied smile and spoke, "If I find the eigenvalues, there will be only one unique weak point." Then his eyes lit up with excitement. Found it. F(x) = 0. Its weak point has been revealed. Finally, he boldly raised the gun and spoke, "Magic circle, your local minimum value is next." The bullet flew from the barrel while he cheered, "It's your destruction." Immediately after, he was so happy he jumped for joy. The massive power of the bullet slowly pierced through the magic barrier. It slowly seeped deep inside, then gradually touched her body. Only now did she realize what was happening and screamed, What? Lim Esayun and the gun were blown back. She cried out in despair. Ow, ow, could you break my magic circle? But he didn't care, because he was still immersed in ecstasy. I calculated it, the formula has been proven. He thought about the gun, and concluded, just as I calculated. Then he fell asleep amidst his thoughts. The magic circle has collapsed. On the contrary, she was screaming frantically, how could these weaklings? My physical body hasn't been fully transferred yet. Meanwhile, a shout rang out from somewhere. Well done, son. Leave the rest to me. It was Shit's voice. She charged straight at that body while she was screaming, hey, what do you think you're doing? Ignoring her, she stomped directly on her umbilical cord. She frantically tore at that cord. She still stood there, screaming angrily, how dare you try to rip me out? She had to endure a powerful attack from her. As her body was forcefully blown away, she angrily approached the original body and spoke loudly in despair. I can't let everything collapse at this moment. She felt her body and cried out in pain. My body, my noble body, I can't lose even a small piece of flesh. Even though she was pushed far away, she still struggled to respond. Greed grows like a tree, but eventually it will break and fall on its own, when it cannot withstand its own weight. And when something collapses like that, filthy things will inevitably cling to it, layer by layer. Hearing that, she became even more furious and threatened loudly. What the hell are you talking about, you lowly beast? I will chew you until only your bones remain. She spoke a lesson in her exhaustion. Now both this thing and your greed will burn together. Isn't that right? At this moment, Young Miho began to appear in his beastly form. When she called out, Lord Lavis, Han Yong, despite his body being held upside down, his mouth wouldn't stop apologizing, saying, Mother, I'm sorry, that thing. He absorbed the red smoke, and suddenly became stronger. As for Young Miha, observing that scene, her eyes widened. Startled, she thought to herself,
Impossible.
Was the smoke just now a catalyst? Meanwhile, on another side, Jin Jie slowly watched with eyes full of obsession. Shifting to a previous event, when a woman held a large syringe in her hand, following her train of thought, the one who was once sealed in that demon realm. Fortunately, I managed to get blood from Lord Lavis's body. I intended to keep it forever, but there's no other way now. Lord Lavis, Banbi said this, a special serum has been implanted into your new body. If it absorbs blood from the original body, you will be able to regain a portion of your true strength. So, Lord Lavis, please accept my gift, and cause a shockwave like in the old days once more. In front of her now, Young Myo had both eyes wide and gloomy as he interrupted. It's been a long time since I've had such a refreshing feeling. As for Young Miha, she suddenly became agitated and screamed out in anger, you useless fools, you two can't even handle a simple task like this. However, he showed no mercy and suddenly pulled hard on the shirt of that Han Yong guy. Then he yanked hard on the necklace around Han Su's neck, making her cry out. The two of them gritted their teeth in pain. Suddenly, both performed a turn at the same time, and quickly escaped from Young Miho's grasp. Having just broken free, he went mad and lunged toward him like a bullet. Thank you, mother. Now I'll truly kill him. She also didn't hesitate and immediately rushed at him from the other side while roaring. Go. However, Young Mio easily blocked both attacks with his bare hands. As for the possessed Young Miha, she flew straight at him in a rage, not forgetting to mock him. Lavis Vindica, you bastard who calls himself the prince of the demon realm, why are you risking your life for such lowly humans? She isn't even your biological sister. However, Young Mio did not answer immediately but muttered, that sweet cake. Then his eyes glared as he spoke in a low, firm voice. It was truly delicious. Those words made her eyes widen in total shock. What? On the contrary, he continued to bring up the story from the past. The cake that the sister of this body fed me. It didn't taste like anything of this world. It tasted of the heavenly realm. From the other side, he felt irritated and cut in, mocking him. What the hell are you talking about? You're a demon. Why are you mentioning the heavenly realm? But Young Miho remained steadfast in his words and even asked, have you two ever fed each other cake? Han Su, nearby, also chimed in with a rude tone. No way, are you crazy? If anything, we'd just throw it in each other's faces. His hands continued to attack fluidly, while his voice replied with total indifference. Is that so? Only a short while later, he slashed a line directly across her neck. The wound was not minor. It was deep enough to spray a stream of blood. Those drops of blood splattered onto Young Miho's face and even his mouth. He didn't hesitate to use his tongue to clean it off. But the moment he tasted it, his eyes suddenly widened.
Young Miho's mind
Once again drifted back into the past, specifically Han Su's past, when she was still innocent. Mom, I got a 10. At that time, a tiny Han Yong also spoke up excitedly. Mom, I cleaned the whole house. I'm so hungry. However, Han Yong-ju barked back bluntly. Shut up. If you're hungry, go drink water. Immediately, she left the house and slammed the door shut, not forgetting to curse the good-for-nothing brats. Those words unintentionally hurt those two children. Others would have lost motivation and thrown away those efforts, studying and cleaning. They sadly continued to think, nothing I do ever makes mother praise me. Shifting to another scene at a coffee shop,
Han Yong-yu
looked at the bustling surroundings and constantly complained, if it weren't for you kids, men would be falling for me like rain. Look at that fake smile over there. It's nauseating. Young mother really doesn't like that girl. You understand, don't you? Han Su, standing nearby, followed her mother's gaze. Instinctively, she became unusually silent. Without a moment's hesitation, she stood up and moved slowly. Her footsteps suddenly became hurried, and she immediately lunged straight into that girl. This made the girl furious, and she exclaimed, "Damn it, what was that?" While Han Yong-ju rushed over to ask her, "Are you alright?" The girl wouldn't stop cursing, "Damn it, so annoying. What about my clothes? Huh?" Meanwhile, she pulled Han Su away while apologizing. "I'm so sorry, I'll buy you a new outfit to change into." Then they left the room while Han Yong-ju spoke up, "Come on, children." She put her arms around both kids and continued, "What should we do now?" Then, on her lips, a satisfied smirk suddenly appeared. She immediately hugged Han Su and exclaimed, "Our Yong is so kind, isn't she? So adorable. Did you see that girl's face? Acting all virtuous. Serves her right." This made her stiffen, secretly rejoicing. Finally, mother praised me. As for Han Yong, realizing this, he became competitive and spoke up, "Mother, let me do it next time. I can do it too."
Han Yong-yu,
hearing that, didn't stop him but added, alright, you try it next time." As for Han Su, she stared at her satisfied face and secretly deduced, if I torture the one's mother is jealous of, mother will praise me. And that thought stayed until she grew up, when Han Su stood before the collapsed body of a woman. If I beat the one's mother hates. Han Yong-ju stood nearby laughing brightly, making her think, mother will praise me. Instantly, she exclaimed with praise, "Oh, why is my Yong so good at that? Do you really do everything mother tells you?" Even when the blade dripped with blood, Han Su still replied, "Yes," standing before that corpse. She softly explained, "Everything mother commands." This made her extremely delighted, and she immediately turned to cup her face. "How cute. So, you can keep killing next time, right? My dear beloved Yong." She softly replied again, "Yes, I'll do it if I kill the people mother orders." Ansu leaned her head into her lap with a self-affirming mind. "Mother will love me." A smile now blossomed on her lips, a truly happy smile. Returning to reality, Young-myo, after reading those memories, exclaimed, "You really raised these children well." As for Han Su, she was now completely maddened and determined to kill him. Die just as I say. Even Han Yong from the other side wanted the same and roared, I will kill him. I'll be the one to kill him first." Young Miha nearby saw this and roared in encouragement, "That's right, kill him quickly. Get that bastard out of my sight right now." Young Miho saw this and swung his sword again while thinking, the true nature of demons, how truly despicable. Despite fighting two against one, he still easily suppressed them both. Then Young Miho's gaze suddenly widened with savagery. "I admit you are a demon, worthy and qualified enough to die by my hand." Recognizing that expression, she thought in shock, his gaze has changed. Her teeth, she instinctively gritted them as she thought further, "It's exactly like Suddenly, the image of his uncle appeared beside him, making Young Mia astonished, the beast of the battlefield from that day. On the other side, Han Yong had been severely wounded and screamed pathetically, "Damn it, my hand!" Han Su beside him didn't care at all and even mocked him. "You idiot, you should have been more careful." Suddenly Young Miho lunged forward and spoke up, pointing out, "You're worried because he's your brother, aren't you?" While she was still annoyed, he screamed from behind, placing the blame. "It's all your fault, Han Su. You piece of trash, you should have performed your duty properly." As for her, who was originally fighting him, hearing that, she had to glare and turn around. "What did you just say? You?" Han Yong became even more frantic and exclaimed, "Kill him. Kill this bastard right now. If not, I'll kill you first." This caused Han Su to stiffen in disbelief. "You, really?" As for Young Miho, he took the opportunity of their quarreling to swing his blade and leap up. "That's right, keep on arguing, you fools." Only now did she realize, her eyes widening, in surprise. However, without a single wasted movement, she quickly grabbed him. At that same moment he swung his sword, and Han Yong was pulled by Han Su in front of the blade to take the full force of the attack. Immediately, he collapsed and let out a roar. A piercing pain shot through his body, making Han Yong unable to stand as he screamed. It hurt so much, the sensation left his body numb, as he threw his head back and shrieked, "Mother!" As for Young Miha, seeing that pathetic sight, she cursed loudly, "Useless until the very end. Su, leave that boy behind and get over here to fight." She was still pressing close to Young Miho. Hearing her command, she immediately obeyed. "Yes, mother."
Meanwhile, Han
Yong, now collapsed on the ground, cried out in resentment, "No, don't leave me." With his last breath he strained his voice to plead, "Mother, mother," but she didn't care about him at all, focusing only on destroying Young Mio. Stop this useless resistance. However, his agile body quickly evaded every single attack. At the same time, his brain was working in shifts. "I've dealt with one of them," but looking at the motionless corpse over there, he continued his calculations. "Mara's body has almost finished the possession. If I waste any more time, Miha will never be able to come back. I don't know how much longer this body can hold out." Suddenly, Young Mio grabbed the blade, firm in his thought, "But I have to try." Instantly, he snatched the knife from Han Su's hand. His other arm quickly seized her waist, while his first hand discarded the blade, and moved toward her head. Without a moment's hesitation, Young Miho leaned down and bit hard into Han Su's neck. Despite her scream of agonizing pain, he remained focused on that flow of blood. This sight caused the possessed Young Miha's eyes to bulge out, terrified. "No, what the hell is this?" Once released, she could no longer stand upright. She lost all her strength and collapsed to the ground. As for Young Miho, after drinking the blood, his power seemed to upgrade. "I will push the blood to the maximum limit that this body can endure, and increase my strength." Immediately and instantaneously, he lunged toward her, swinging his arm in her direction. Meanwhile, Young Mia still used her tentacles to resist violently. "Don't come near me, you bastard." But he didn't stop, getting closer and closer by the second. Realizing her attacks were ineffective, she grew even more panicked. "Why won't you just die? Lavis Vindica." On the other hand, contrary to that effort, Young Miho was actually gritting his teeth in agony. "It feels like my entire body is disintegrating. This vessel can't hold out much longer." Veins popped on his arm as he continued that train of thought. "Feels like being torn apart until death." Instantly, Young Miho maneuvered through the mass of tentacles and rushed close to her. "How I've missed this." As for Young Miha, seeing his skill, her eyes widened in shock, and he was now standing right beside her. After dodging through the attacks, realizing she couldn't escape, she screamed, "No, you bastard! Do you plan to ruin everything at the last minute?" But Young Miho said nothing and swung his arm, quickly pinning Young Miha's body to the ground, making her scream. His hands gripped her neck tightly, despite her fierce shrieking. "Let me go! How dare someone like you?" But he didn't let go, only slowly, affirming, "It's over. Your filthy life is finally finished." Young Miha continued to struggle with a tone of disbelief in the reality of it. "I cannot die. I cannot die by the hands of someone like you." As for Young Miho, he showed no mercy. and grabbed the staff nearby. This is my final warning. If you voluntarily leave Miha's body, right now I will spare your life. Hearing that opportunity, she gasped in shock. What, you would spare me? His aura at this moment was no different from his father's. As he continued, that's right, I, Lavis Vindica, swear on the honor of my father, the great demon king. But suddenly, a different train of thought slipped into young Miha's mind. I see, this guy is afraid that I will self-destruct if I don't leave this body. It's a pity to lose this vessel, but the priority is surviving and finding another. And then she laughed with delight, starting to speak in a frantic voice. Certainly, the lineage of the great demon king wouldn't lie when using family honor. Lower your sword. If you do that, I will do as you wish. Right now, I truly have no other choice. Seeing that recklessness made young Miho stiffen. The magic staff in his hand instinctively vanished in a puff of smoke. He slowly moved away from her and stood up straight. Then he spoke, waiting. Now get out of there. Youngmia, after being released, grimaced from the discomfort in her neck. Before replying, fine. Suddenly, an enchanting smile bloomed on her lips. In an instant, the monster's soul surged out. I'm coming out, you fool. Young Miho saw this and smirked with interest. Immediately after, he swung his demonic hand, using it to grip the soul tightly. Only now did it realize and start struggling violently. What? This arm? This is not a human arm. He kept the smile on his lips, and began to clarify everything. As one of the 12 Black Thrones, you sure believe others' words easily, don't you? To be honest, I didn't even know how to drag you out of Miha's body. This made it widen its eyes in terror. What, you bastard? So it was all just a lie? Even when you swore on the honor of your family and your father? Suddenly, Young Mio held the monster high in his hand, while revealing his cunning side. You know, I only care about maintaining my own honor. The purple-eyed, blue-skinned monster grew furious, screaming and struggling in pain. No, my body, that is my body. I don't want to leave. Let me go.
Young Mio smirked in contempt.
What a pathetic sight. The monster escaped from her body, but the moment it was out, he grabbed it and it shrieked. Wait, hold on. Please, save me. I will do anything you command. The monster writhed and screamed, please. But then, from behind, Han Su stood up staggeringly, holding a sword. That's right, well done. Han Yong, hurry and kill this bastard. Before she could attack, Han Yong stabbed right through her. How cunning, trying to take all the credit for yourself again? A bloody scene unfolded. I won't let that happen. Both of them fell onto the cold ground. Seeing this, he went mad. You bastard, did you just throw away my last chance like that? Young Mi-ho looked at him coldly and retorted, they called you mother with all that despair, only to die in such a ridiculous way. He seemed to grow even more oblivious, shamelessly pleading, please, I beg of you, I won't touch this girl, I'll move to another body, alright? Your mother and I were once as close as sisters. His face remained blank as he stared with expressionless eyes. He hurriedly explained, you don't believe me? It's the truth. Go ask Ineas. She called me big sister, and always treated me well. Hearing this shit, couldn't stand it anymore and spoke up, your children just died. Yet even at the very end, you only think of yourself. Are you truly a mother? He screamed frantically. I beg you, I can give birth to things like that all over again. Lavis, listen to me. Unable to listen further, Young Mi-ho slashed through its neck. Your reputation as a former member of the 12 Black Thrones has no value at all, does it? It moaned in agony. Lavis Vindica, who would have thought you would humiliate me like this? From begging, it now turned to extreme rage and hatred. To think I would die at the hands of Ineas's child, as expected of Ineas, it wailed bitterly. I won't accept this. I will kill you. He stomped down to finish it off and it slowly disintegrated. Blood magic surged back into his eyes. It's over. The battle is over. Shit approached him and said, I knew it. You did it, Master Lavis. He looked at his hand, overtaken by blood magic, and thought, she was a former member of the 12 Black Thrones after all. The power is truly overflowing. He paused, but taking a handkerchief from his shirt, he covered his nose. There's a mediocre and filthy stench. I've wasted time for nothing. Shit-Ease asked about the two who had died. Master Lavis, those twins. If Mara hadn't invaded the human world, she continued, her tone mourning their fate, would they have been able to live happily with their real mother? Young Mi-ho pondered and said, we will never know. Looking at Jung Mi-ha, his sister who was unconscious before him, he continued, even when parents are not demons. Then thinking of Jung Tae-shik, the man unworthy of being a father, he added, children can still die because of their parents' greed. From behind the door, a figure with a face like Jean Jae-hai was looking toward him with eyes full of admiration. It's done. Now we must leave this place. But having been spotted, he called out, hey, over there. She flinched as she clumsily tried to run away. He said, I've already seen you, so you can come out now. She felt utterly embarrassed. No, please just pretend you didn't see me. Having said that, he ignored her and spoke lazily. Verdia? Hearing this name, shit jumped. Verdia is famous as a weapon blacksmith, descending from a traditional family of the demon realm. In surprise, she continued, the youngest child of the Morano family, the one who received all the love and pampering, is that Veltia the genius blacksmith, said to appear only once every 3,000 years? With a pensive look, he asked her directly, why did you follow me all the way here? She startled and stammered an explanation. Follow you? Bambi told me to. He said I am a gift for you. Dear big brother, the surprise is over, so I'm leaving now. After speaking, she immediately turned tail and ran. Shit stared blankly at her, not understanding. Of all the noble young ladies, she is the most reckless and arrogant, and is also known for always clinging to Master Lavis. But I'm certain that was Jean Jae-hai's face, wasn't it? Jung Mi-ho gritted his teeth in anger. Why did he do that? Bambi must have placed Veltia's soul into Jean Jae-hai's body. With a sharp gaze, he felt bitter and annoyed. This has made everything more complicated. Jung Mi-ho crossed his arms in anger, blaming him. Bambi, you bastard, if I return to hell, Bambi will be your subordinate. You can do whatever you want with him. Shit also seemed very interested. Really? For how long? He declared irritably indefinitely. In the kingdom where Bambi was sitting and enjoying afternoon tea, on the other side, Ineas and Baka were chatting animatedly. Baka said, are you surprised? Thinking of that blood-sucking, he is indeed my nephew. Ineas replied bluntly, how cruel. She continued to ask, so what did Lavis do after that? He spoke with a look of admiration for him. Rumor has it that, with that blood-sucking power, he cut off her tentacles and then crushed her head. Baka babbled on, with a playful tone, oh my, it's so cruel that I don't even dare tell anymore. I feel so sorry for my sister. He spoke seriously to Ineas, saying, if you're going to like something, like it properly. Don't just mumble like that. She agreed, that's right, I do like it. Anyway, don't use Lavis anymore. Her eyes were sharp as she glared at Baka, her voice sounding somewhat irritated. You skillfully handled her. That's enough. I haven't had a single day of peace. Knowing my son is in the human realm. Baka tried to dodge the subject, pointing to the tea cup in her hand and asking, the tea you're drinking is a precious specialty. From the George family, isn't it? You've been drinking it all this time. Knowing he was intentionally changing the subject, she retorted directly, that has nothing to do with the matter at hand. Realizing he couldn't hide it, he nonchalantly replied, to comfort her, I'm just joking. Now that Lavis can use his true power, you don't need to worry anymore. Just relax and enjoy your tea. But she had already figured everything out. Are you guys colluding with each other? She shifted her gaze to him and asked, what are you guys planning? Hearing that, his expression turned to surprise. The great demon king doesn't know either? She replied, is it possible Gamuda doesn't know? Bambi placed the bloodstone inside Lavis's body, didn't he? She paused in alarm, as if she had just discovered something terrible. Don't tell me that. She stood up aggressively. Are you planning to use Lavis to capture Morgasa? He raised both hands with a delighted voice. Exactly. Ineas truly exploded when she heard the news about her son. Angrily grabbing Baka's neck, she screamed, I'll kill you right now. Terrified, he hurriedly explained, no, Lavis also wants to capture him. How could I let my nephew's wishes go to waste? As the two argued back and forth, she bit his head. You idiot, you should have died thousands of years ago. He pleaded before her. It hurts so much. It seemed this scene was all too familiar. To Bambi, he just sat there and thought, these two siblings, didn't they always want to kill each other in their past lives? But then, setting down his teacup, he reconsidered seriously. Morgasa, the ruler of death, the god who returns all existence to nothingness. When the wind of death blows through the heavenly realm, hell and the human world will wither away one by one. He rested his chin on his hand, eyes examining carefully. A cruel creature, who wants to devour humanity and re-establish the order of hell. Wherever you are, just wait a moment. Lavis is already on his way. Over. On this side, Young Miho was taking care of his younger sister, who had just been brought back to her room. He looked down and thought, Young Mio, the debt you paid with your own body is considered settled. The mother rushed in, panicked. Why is she fainting here when she was supposed to be practicing? Behind her were Young Taeshik and a few others following her, asking anxiously, Mia, Mio, what is happening? Knowing how to deflect, he replied, it seems she was injured in the practice room. Young Taeshik, acting like he'd gone mad, cursed at him. You bastard, what did you do? She's a future idol. Young Miho, was it you? Are you guys plotting with her to ruin me? His spiteful words made the mother flare up and shout back. How can you say that? Both of you opposed Miha becoming an idol, but he seemed to have lost all reason, thinking only of himself as he barked back at her. Every time Miha appears online, the comments are all praising me. Are you guys trying to tarnish my image? Then he turned aggressively toward the subordinate following him, and gave an order, fine, call the reporters. Bring the phone out and film Miha. I'll say this happened because she was being harassed. With greedy eyes he laughed like a wild beast. That will attract more attention and sympathy. Isn't my idea just brilliant? Young Mio, hearing this, seemed to have reached his limit. He looked coldly at this thing. Truly, you don't know your place. Glancing at Young Taeshik, his voice was cold as ice. Before he could finish speaking, she cried out, unable to take it anymore. Enough! Do you even look at this child with your own eyes? Is that so? He gritted his teeth. What is? Then she turned, pouring out her heart to his surprise. First, I thought you would be a good father, but right after my father passed away, you took all his money and prepared to run for office, using my family's connections. She cried in pain. You even exploited Miha. I can't endure this anymore. He cut her off arrogantly, replying, I am the one who accepted, poor woman, who ran away from home with your 2 children. Don't you remember? Your father once thanked me and asked me to take care of the kids. Then, he roared back, blaming and cursing, after devouring your ex-husband. Now you're trying to kick me out too? You ungrateful wretch. Looking at this pathetic man before him, he was extremely angry. Every word you utter stinks to high heaven. Does someone like you even deserve to be called human? His gaze stared straight ahead, as if reaching the peak of his limit. I can't stand this rudeness any longer. Though it's a pity I can't kill people in the human world, breaking a bone or two. She couldn't hold back any longer and acted aggressively. Shut up right now, you piece of trash. He was surprised, but his blood boiled even more. What? You dare talk to me like that? You dare try to silence me? Looking at Young Taeshik with eyes of hatred, I have endured to avoid hurting the children any further. I tried to make sure they wouldn't lose a father. For a second time. You are a hypocrite. Is all of this just for your image? Don't make me laugh.
Young Taeshik.
Veins began to bulge on his face. Are you crazy? She folded her arms across her chest. Her hatred turned into strength as she declared, listen here. I am no longer here to be your lackey. Her determined gaze made him feel bitter. From now on, I will be the hand that strangles you. He also reconsidered. I used to think she was just a weak human. The scene reminded him of Inia's, but this moment reminds me of my mother. Young Taeshik also turned furious. What? Who do you people think you are to dare? At a grand facility in the Middle East, a large, dark-skinned man was pleading. What are you doing? Please stop. Don't press the launch button. The one in the black cloak acted indifferent. Why isn't it working? The dark-skinned man continuously warned and advised him. If you launch that, thousands of innocent civilians will die. He didn't listen to a single word, and still nonchalantly pressed the button. His voice was cold. Wasn't that your intention all along? The system lit up, and the room immediately turned red. Warning, missile launch sequence has been activated. The dark-skinned man screamed out in helpless bitterness. Oh no, why are you doing this? What is your true identity? He replied, I am a demon. The man asked again, what did you just say? He turned around with a face cold and expressionless, enough to make anyone tremble. Go to the launch area and tell them that this was done by Morgasa.